welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. I am Jeff. We are playing Worlds Without Number, and there are more people in the screen than there were last time. I don't know how that happened. Who let this guy in? Who let this
No one was
guy?
watching the door.
Yeah.
So.
If you see all these wonderful tokens that some of the players have, this is the wonderful artist behind. This is Logan. He's gonna be joining us for a little run here, and maybe we could talk him into staying a little longer. We'll see how it goes, or we could just, I don't know, cut Ashley, and then we go back to 3, and we're good to go. Right?
Honestly, it depends on what happens with the Furkin.
You know.
It does. It does depend on what happened. Everything depends.
I deserve it. I've
depends
been
on that.
abandoned my whole life.
What? Oh, okay. Never mind. Melissa,
you can't cut her because then she'll find me in real life, and then I don't.
I've been firing people a lot. I've noticed in streams recently. I keep telling
true.
people you're fired. You're fired.
And everybody keeps coming back, so I don't think anyone listens
I know.
to you.
I know. I'm not a very good boss, so
It's a
I'm not a
democracy.
boss. There's no money in this.
Nobody else says anything.
Yeah. So anyway, we're playing some Worlds Without Number today, continuing our little sci fantasy hex crawl. We got our little hex map up again. We're actually going to be leaving Big Husk. The last couple sessions we were delving deep beneath it, doing a couple little dungeon encounters and such. But now we're going to go back to some hex crawling stuff, moving about. We'll get into the specifics of the mission soon. Other things we do here before we get going to give everyone a chance to introduce their characters, plug what they have to plug. But we play games on Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Saturdays is our Worlds Without Number day. Friday, we do Delta Green. And Mondays, we have been alternating between Alien and Things from the Flood. And soon, we will be adding a new game to that alternation. So pay attention to that. So let's just go ahead, go back through, give us a quick little intro to who your character is. And plus, for those of you who were in the group for the past couple of weeks, you just got to level up. So why don't you tell us about something cool you got? You don't have to tell us about everything. Just give us like maybe one cool thing you got. So Long, you're in the first position. I don't know how you got there. That's a mistake. All right, I'm going to have to take the stream down. I can't do this for long. Long, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm playing Vice. He's a bone race. It's pretty much bones jutting out of him, a bunch of ridges. And our level up, I think we just got more HP and better skills. So I took another prey level.
Yeah, and prey is pretty important for blood priests because it builds towards your effort. Effort's kind of like a mana pool for using your various arts and abilities that are specifically geared towards the blood priest. And so having more effort means you can use more of those skills during various scenes and combats and things like that. Awesome. You didn't get any like foci or arts or anything?
There's no foci or arts.
No. Yeah. Level was
3.
It? You guys were 3? Did you guys hit 3?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Let's move it on over. Ashley, who are you?
I'm Octavia. I'm here to make friends and just have a really good time. I'm a skin shifter and I'm also like a warrior, like to hit things. So Nenka and I are siblings now.
Every week it's different before
it's
roommates.
Every week we get closer and closer. Eventually, who knows, Melissa? You should be scared. But yeah.
Yeah. I still remember that happened when you like injected yourself into her family. After the stream, Melissa comes up to me. She's like, who the fuck does she think she is? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Like,
you know how Melissa is. She's curses like a sailor.
I'm gonna beat her up.
Soon. Okay. Bottom row. Speaking of the foul mouth, Melissa.
So I'm playing Senenka. She is a Sidawan. So most Sidawan have some type of a modification. And so she's got a kind of voice box mod that allows her to kind of talk to like animals and other species and things, which sometimes apparently doesn't come across as well as she wants it to, but does it anyway. So the level up that happened with level 3 now is that my punches are magic weapons. So I should punch more things.
Yeah, punch all the things.
I've been saying that to you
Magically.
since we got married. Punch more stuff. Awesome. And then we have a new face on the stream. Logan, tell us who you are, first of all. Tell us where they can find your stuff. And
I am a people named Logan. I have an Instagram with drawings on it. If you like that kind of thing, it's Old Man Logan at Instagram.com, and it's LOWGUN. Because I thought I was clever at one point, and that's it. Yeah, and I like to play games and draw stuff. So Glad to be here.
Tell us a little about this character that you built.
Oh yeah, right. That's the other important thing. So I'm going to be playing this guy who's kind of like an alien dock worker, laborer kind of guy. His name's Burdock. He's short, squat, really wide. Has dark gray skin. Looks almost like carved out of granite or rock. Real simple guy, and he gets in trouble a lot because he's kind of like the older union guy that tries to look out for everybody, and he ends up like biting off more than he can chew. So yeah, he thinks with his fist too much, but he's a well-meaning guy.
Awesome.
Yeah, his name's Burdock. He goes by Doc.
Okay.
D-O-K. Just chucking the stream.
It is, yeah, it's the okay.
Oh, he would approve. All right, he's cooking right now, so maybe we'll see him later. Let's get started. So basically, if you're unfamiliar with our game, it's sort of a science fantasy world. It's everyone here plays a different alien species that has all found their way to this planet, this world, and they are currently taking up residence within the ruins of an ancient, massive megacity, the creators of which aren't around, as far as everyone knows. And everyone's just kind of living here and finding their way around using whatever ancient tech is left, if they can, and finding ways to also incorporate like old school agrarian society concepts into it as well. And up until now, we've just kind of been doing some jobs. We've moved about the waste districts, which is like the unprotected areas of this giant mega city. And the last mission had Vice, Sonenka, and Octavia delving beneath the city itself, kind of like into these subterranean labs and tunnels to try to save a small family of chinchillas. It makes perfect sense. And yeah. So you guys come back. We'll montage just for a couple of minutes here, really quick, like what you guys have done. You've returned to the surface. Vice, did you ever heal Sonenka to remove her frail condition? Because we know that she nearly died, which was kind of crazy.
We weren't able to while we were down there.
Okay, all right. So at some point, I'm sure we'll say probably about a week is going to pass between that specific job and the new one that you guys are about to get. And during that time, you guys can do some odds and ends. So I would say we'll start with the three of you, and maybe we'll even dive into Burdock a little bit too. The past week, what have you guys been doing the past week? We won't role play it all out. Let's just sort of like give me an idea of like what your week has been for the past week. So I'm gonna start randomly with Ashley.
I'm totally prepared for this. Okay, so I like to imagine that Octavia is absolutely just totally down to hang with the Furkins for a while.
Okay.
So like when I'm not at their den, because I'm trying to pull up my notes.
Okay. You're not at their den. So they had a tendency to stay around Bushrise and everything, in Rockfall, which is like one of the southern plateaus on which some of the city has been built. They kind of get a fairly high priority place to stay because of they do such a dangerous job. So yeah, like you probably wouldn't stay there for very long because it's not very big. They're small and it's more like little tiny warrens and stuff like that built into the side of a plateau.
I probably helped carry them back. Then.
Sure.
Like if they were super tired or whatever.
Richard Gere, Officer and a Gentleman, chinchillas falling all over the place.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I came back home and that thrash house, the cage fight area, because I have my cool thrash house necklace I spent money on. I am going full just fangirl. Like I come home every day with like a new like bruise or like just like cut on my cheek or something because I just
super
went too
goaty,
hard
huh?
I'm getting super goaty.
Okay. Well, that's the name of the band, Super Goaty, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had the thrash band. Okay. And is there anything else that you were looking to do over the course of the week? Anything you're trying to do at all? Like anything production-wise? It's okay if you don't know. We can cycle back around again.
Yeah, cycle back to me.
Okay. Long, is there anything in particular that Vice has been doing for the past week?
Yeah, a couple of things. I'll spend most of my time at the temple.
Okay.
I'll be like mostly like, I guess, serving, helping out people that are injured.
Okay.
And also I want to take time to like craft my daggers into like short swords with the bones that have been falling off of me.
Okay, that makes sense. So we'll say, I mean, like over the course of a week, I think you can probably take some. I mean, like it's probably not too difficult, especially since you're taking your own. You already have the materials because that's just sort of what your species does. Why don't you do a craft roll, and we'll keep the DC fairly low. We'll just say it's like a 6. I think this is something that pretty much any across the card could do
10 on
easily.
it.
Yeah, and so it takes most of the week to get them just right. You not only do you actually build them or kind of you also have to adorn them in some ways. Maybe you add some kind of war paint or some other something else. Find some gems or some other precious metals or things like that you can do to make them look a little fancier. Your time at the temple is pretty good. I want you to roll for me really quick. See if you can roll a, let's say, convince. See how it goes, how your week goes while working at the temple. But yeah, you got your weapons, no problem.
What are we convincing here? Like a charisma or
Yeah, charisma, I would say. Okay.
a 7?
So over the course of the week, you get a sense because you're over by the Dead God Ministries. That's the kind of where you're at. You get the sense that there is certain areas that you're kind of restricted from moving around within, and they usually have to do with somewhere higher up on the southern side of the plateau, on which the ministry, kind of this sort of series of temples and churches are built into the side of, and you're getting the sense that there's a place up there that they're keeping from you. A few times, maybe you're cleaning, maybe you're helping, running errands, or something like that. You see a door close and someone stand in front of it and not let you pass, or somebody easily redirect you. They're not being rude or mean about it. It's just it's very clear that you haven't yet perhaps earned the trust of those around you to see what exactly is in the upper chambers of some of these temples that you've been working at. So something to keep an eye out as we continue. Anything else you want to do, Vice?
That and just like turn in or speak with the apothecary lady. For her name.
Yeah, because you so you're gonna
Andrea.
give her over those crystals and things that you found, right? And so she can
Right.
start experimenting on those. Yeah, easily enough done. And she'll probably spend some time experimenting on what she can concoct with those, and reach back out to you when she has something of note worth sharing. Sonenka, what have you been doing for the past week?
So there's a couple of things she's been doing. So the first, kind of on the Beastmaster side of things, is she's going to keep doing some training with the little pets that we have. Trying to
Okay.
maybe get one of them to kind of rise to the cream of the crop and maybe have a companion. We'll see.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and roll. I would say either survive, or you can actually do something a little bit more like social, like, I don't know, convince or something like that. Lead, maybe.
Can I do wisdom or?
Yeah, wisdom you can take. That's fine. I'm talking about more the skill that you would roll. So maybe lead, maybe I would say lead, convince, or survive. One of those three, whatever you prefer.
All right, I'll do lead.
Okay.
8.
Okay. I think 8's pretty good. We'll say that they're still young, so it's a question whether or not you actually want to put them into combat with you or into dangerous circumstances, but they are definitely beginning to listen to basic commands. Go, stay, leave
Yeah,
it.
I'm trying to just work
that
on
kind of
them,
thing.
like, if I tell them to hide, stay. you know,
Yeah.
kind of those types of things that will get them.
Yeah, they're definitely getting the stay down. They're getting the calm. Like they're very excited whenever you walk through the door. Like they're coming over and pecking away at you and everything like that. No real complex tasks yet, but you definitely are laying some really good groundwork. But they're still small and they're still, only a couple weeks old. So it's the question, hey, if you want to bring them out into the waste with you, then I'm all for it.
Yeah,
You
maybe
might
not,
run
but I
out of
wanna keep
rations,
training with them. And then so the other thing that I'll do kind of on the vowed side is that I do have like a master that I train with.
Okay.
So I'm going to do some training.
What's
so
the name of
his
that master?
Ignomete is his name.
Okay, you're gonna have to send me a message with what the spelling of that is. But yeah, sounds good.
Iggy.
Iggy. That's much better.
So I'm doing because I improved my punch
Okay.
into it's no, so that's what I was kind of working on.
All right, sounds good. I would say that it's actually the Vowed have a tendency, like if you're looking for like kind of monk retreat, you're not too far away probably from where Vice has taken up residence. Although your training grounds are a little bit less about specific worship of deities and more about kind of like centering themselves and like mindfulness and sort of attunement with the world and everything. But they're in that same sort of quadrant where people tend to congregate. Okay.
And yes, in chat, installing a lock on my door.
Yeah.
I have some privacy from Octavia.
She has
Don't
raid.
go into the bedroom. I have some respect.
She just crawls
You
up
have
into the bed.
boundaries, you
and
do?
like-
Sanenka wakes up and I'm just breathing over you. Good morning.
Oh my gosh, it's like, what's it called? That one, what's that one movie where like the woman was like looking down and killed her husband at the end?
Oh,
The found footage one?
yes.
Oh, I can't remember. Whatever. All right, and then so Burdock. So Burdock, we talked a little bit about him off air and how he's laborer type. Definitely has a physique. He's strong. He's powerful, but he's not necessarily like a crazy warrior type, right, Logan?
Right.
Okay. So we've talked about maybe having him be in the service of Ruvala. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, if that works for you.
I think that works great. So there's two locations where Ruvala tends to take up most of his time. So and they're right next to each other, sort of. There's the place called the Manufactory, which is just in the manufacturing district, and there's a lot of different like warehouses, different people who have taken the ruins of old factories and tried to do production. And then there's Middle Wharf, which is on the west side, and it's along the water. All of Big Husk is on a fairly high cliff, and then there are these elevators that go down to like the docks where they, interact with various ships from like the Iron Tilla and others. And so you probably are doing that run quite regularly, having to go down to the docks, pick some stuff up, bring them up this long, very slow, kind of freaky elevator if you don't have any flying or climbing abilities.
He does not. No.
Yeah. So
He has like very heavy boxes abilities about. That's
okay. Why don't you either roll a notice whiz, or you can probably do something like a connect charisma, one of those two things.
okay.
If you have trouble rolling it, all you really need to do when you're doing skill checks is just roll 2d6s, and then we can
Okay, you can adjudicate.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Wow, Vice, would you give Burdock some of your bone claws? Would you shed some extra bone for? Okay, this is getting weird. I didn't mean it to be weird.
I was
when
gonna
first
ask
started
him for
talking.
some
I didn't.
too,
I
and I was
didn't
like,
mean
wait, I don't want to ask
I
Chloe
didn't
for
mean
his
that.
bone.
Okay, with
Alright,
an
so
8.
that's-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's window modifiers, so it might be lower.
Okay.
You said notice. I think notice is at -1, so it'd be like a 7.
You can you can either do that or you can do like convince with charisma.
I don't think it's the same.
Okay. Well, I think your charisma is better. So your charisma
okay.
will counter because you actually have a bonus to your modifier with charisma. Okay. So we'll say that as you're doing these trips over the course of the past week, right?
Mhm.
You've been going down the Middle Wharf, coming back up, going back down, coming back up. You notice a couple of things are kind of like there's been some agitation around the Middle Wharf itself, around the docks. You overhear that there's people that have been kind of isolated into a warehouse nearby. Like this one warehouse we used to pick stuff up at regularly is suddenly quarantined off. People aren't allowed to go in it. You can see that one of the sort of submarine-like ships that the Iron Tilla tend to deliver goods to the dock is also. You can see that there's like all these different giant like Huskorg fellas that are like moving about, and it's almost as if they've commandeered it in some ways. There's something going on. And your convince roll has allowed you to kind of get a couple rumors here and there, as it seems as though there's like a sickness that has been spreading.
Okay.
And specifically, it's described as these marks tend to grow along a person's neck or underneath wherever it is that they breathe from. And some people wrongly presume that like this Iron Tail has been bringing it in, and it's really put a kind of a damper on kind of the import export. And so Ravala has been like freaking out a bit because like a lot of the materials that they tend to get come from Middle Wharf. Right. And so for the week he's just been like kind of scrambling to find other sources, other things. And finally he pulls you aside and he tells you, he says that Ravala has a job for you, Bardak. You will. Have you left the city before? Have you gone beyond the?
No.
Well, good news. You will be traveling, but don't worry. You will not go alone. Ravala will find others to go with you. Has many contacts to assist you, but. He kind of leans in really close to you, and he says, but Ravala does not trust them as much as Ravala trusts Bardak. Is this understood?
Yeah, sure. I'm a pretty trustworthy guy.
Yes, you have that face about you. You have kind eyes. Not like
they're just
other.
Like little beady eyes. He's like, yeah.
And Ravala's got these giant black glassy eyes that just look like a shark's eyes.
Maybe that's why he thinks they're trusty. Exactly. They're kind of similar.
Just like, see eye to eye on this. I have. They are effective at what they do. This group that I have invited here today, and I want you to keep a close eye on them as you travel. If they do anything that might seem out of the ordinary, anything untrustworthy, anything that seems not to be in the interest of Ravala, I want you to make note. Let Ravala know.
Yeah, sure, boss. Whatever you say.
Okay.
So you don't want me to move these boxes?
No, you're going to be moving box. You're going to be taking box. You're going to take your big cart. You're going to put a special box in. Only you are allowed to open box. Only you are allowed to use what is inside box. I will instruct you. And so, this is like the morning, and he takes out what looks like some kind of like leafy substance, and he explains where it's from. It's like this special kelp that grows like out in the ocean, and it's like the last batch that he has from the Iron Tilla because they've closed the wharf down, right, from getting stuff in. So do not lose this. There is very little of this, and it's very useful. And he lights up a fire. So he's got this little like actual like oven, and he flicks some of these leaves in, and you see the flame go from orange to like this blue-green aqua color, and it's just in the entire room. Do you see Ravala has cast magic spell? Are you impressed?
Yeah, it looks like. Very, yeah. I don't truck with no magic usually. I'm very impressed.
Yeah. This is why I like you, Bardak. You are very... I do not mean this meanly, but simple-minded, straightforward. You shoot from, how is it the humans say, the hip.
Yeah, I think I got some of those.
So this will be very important. You will use this to signal a very important party. But I will explain all of it when the rest of them arrive. And it's at this point that you guys hear like a knocking. Like the two of you hear a knocking on this, what is effectively a garage door. And Ravala like waddles over, pulls the door up. And there we see Vice, Octavia, and Sonenka, who have joined him in his warehouse. He's like, oh, come in, friends, come in. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as well.
Yes, Ravala is very pleased to see you. You are his favorite workers. There's no one Ravala would rather have working for him.
Are we your only workers?
No, Ravala has a network of agents and suppliers and things. But you are very effective. I have no job for you.
We're all ears.
Ah. And you can look up at Ravala and you realize Ravala has no ears. I shall not take offense. What do you know of the Nindarians? Yes, the three of you as you walk in. And you can see that there's this other guy just like kind of lurking behind him. But Ravala looks like, what do you know of the Nindarians?
Was the like tentacle guys?
Those are the tentacle guys, yeah.
Yeah, Burdock will say it. Like, I know he's asking them,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Burdock's simple.
You see, you see Ravala's like, yes, Burdock, thank you very much.
Yeah, anytime.
We know they're like really good swimmers. Like when we were out there, they found this like thing of water that like numbs you. I can also swim in it.
Excellent. That is good to know. I shall make note of it. Octavia. Yes. Yes. The Nindarians are very good swimmers because they were born within the water. They live within the water, and only in their true form is beneath the water. It's only when they go on the surface that they shift into other forms to make us meatbags feel more at home with them. But the Nindarians, there is a colony of them, I have learned. Ravala has learned. To the east, around Lake Wusterhak. Have you been to this place? No?
No.
No?
No. Well, Seneca will say yes.
Okay.
Sure,
Yes.
why not?
What is it that you know of this place? And then, hey, Chuck, what's going on, man?
There's water.
You are most perceptive, Sonenka. And he kind of looks over towards Burdock at this point, and you can tell, even though his eyes are like these big balls of blacky glass, and he has like no eyebrows, you can tell that there's like, is he rolling his eyes at me? I think he's rolling his eyes at me. So he says, yes, there is water. It's very toxic, but not to the Nindarians. Somewhere within the lake, they have taken up a colony. And at the base of that lake, at the bed, there is a sediment that is formed. These powerful gaseous pockets erupt around, and they scatter all sorts of very special sediment that Ruvala needs. And Ruvala would like you to go and to entreat with these Nandarians. Would this be something that the three of you are willing to do?
Are we trading with them? Like, have they sold to you before?
Well, no. Not in so many terms, no. My former business partner, Martin, was the one who mostly had the relationships with the Nendarians, but as you know, we are trying to usurp Martin from his business practices. And it would be beneficial to us all if we could create our own connection. They are very reclusive, though, very difficult to talk with, but I have found out a very particular way with which you can communicate with them. My man, Burdock here.
That's
He
me.
will. Thank you, Burdock, yes.
How y'all doing?
He will be the one who will initiate such communication. You all are to protect him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've already made friends once with some Nindarian, but, like, I think they're trapped.
Can you give us an example? What does it sound like?
What does what sound like?
Communicating with these guys.
You don't remember what they sound like when they were talking?
They make very rapid movements with their tentacles to mimic the sound that comes out of your fleshback mouth. May I continue?
As you were.
So basically, he wants you guys to go to the
nice.
lake, and he wants you guys to keep an eye on, to protect Burdock, who will initiate, a way of signaling them. That is all. Very simple. Point A to point B, do some things at point B, get some things back, come back to point A again. We all get rich.
How rich?
I am prepared to give the three of you 200 apiece In addition, I have a very special supply coming from Bramble Country. I shall give you a portion of that if you would like.
I'm
Highly.
intrigued.
What's that?
I'm intrigued.
Oh, I figured you would be. Is this something that you are all satisfied with?
Yeah. I like hanging out with you, Ravala. I'll do it.
No, I will not be coming. Sorry, I have other things to do.
And Octavia's just like, okay, that's fine.
I am an administrator. I administrate.
Yeah, but we get to bring you stuff. That's cool.
Yes,
Martin's the first guy we encountered. right?
yes. This is your first guy who gave
Yeah.
you a job. Yes,
Right.
it is very cool.
Try to do some sort of like notice or something just to see if there's something that's being left out of this debrief.
Oh, of course you can. You want to notice wisdom?
Notice whiz? Okay.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, 7.
Oh yeah, he's keeping something from you, or they're keeping something from you, I should say.
Is there a reason why you couldn't just send like Doc and somebody else? Why you need all of us to go?
Oh well, it is possible that Martin has sent some of his own to the lake to communicate with them as well. So it's possible that you could run into them. Possible. Ravala is not certain.
Seems to be a pattern with jobs that we have with you. We're
You're
seeing if we can beat someone there and then.
I mean, it's Martine. Same as last time.
They're the same business. It's competition.
Exactly.
course.
Thank you. You two are clearly the brains of the little organization. No offense to you, Sonenka. I'm sure you also have brain.
You know, saying no offense in a sentence doesn't remove the offense from the thing you're saying.
Really?
We also don't bite the hand that feeds. So as I like to say, Ravala, thank you very much. We need to figure out how we're gonna breathe underwater.
You do not have to do that.
Oh,
Mr. Burdock has instructions on how to signal them, and they will come to you. All you need to do is find a very safe space along the lake, signal, and they will find you.
okay.
So that Martine and his folks would also see the signal, right?
That's safe space.
Certainly a possibility. Also, it goes without saying, if you encounter Martine's people, you are, of course, free to do with them as you please.
I mean, I would please to just walk past them, but I guess you wouldn't.
You can walk past them. I'm curious if they would let you pass, though. That is the question. They are not known for their sociability.
And wait, did Usa work for Martine?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, then never mind. Screw him.
Forgot
about
that. You are remembering back to first episode. Good. Okay. So it's a hex crawl then. It's going to take a little bit of time,
Okay.
about 2 days to get out to the lake, give or take.
Got it.
Burdock has a cart already, so you don't even have to bring yours if you don't want to.
Cool.
You do see that there is a peculiar-looking crate already stacked onto this this cart. Has these weird symbols along the side of it. Hey, Gemini Factor, thanks for coming by. You can see that there's these weird symbols. You've seen them plastered and painted on various places around the city, around Big Husk from time to time. What they mean, no one really knows for sure. But yeah. If there are any particular preparations you would like to make, otherwise time is of the essence, as it always is.
I'm
Got
gonna
it.
poke some questions about the box. Like, is this important? Is this part of it, or
It is important, but Mr. Burdock will take care of this.
Yeah,
You do not-
Burdock like puts a big stony arm over it. He's like, "Don't touch the box." Sorry. No touching the box. Ravala just nods like, yeah.
Does that enter your question, Vice?
that'll suffice?
Good.
That will be Vice.
do you have a third person you can replace Octavia with? Is it possible? I'm worried about seriousness of the mission. This is very serious. Lives hang in the balance. Paychecks, things like that.
Life is all about balance. You have your times of levity and you have your times of seriousness.
I'm here for the muscle, Ravala.
Good.
Remember.
That-
I got you.
You hopefully will take those muscles and break the Martine Stugs in half with them. That is... Well, but do not break the Nindarians. They are very polite people, and they have a very unique set of abilities to reach down to the bottom of the lake and recover the sediment in any amount of quantity that would be useful to myself and to the partners I need to deliver it to.
Are you looking for like a certain amount that we should get for you? Like, is there a minimum requirement you would prefer?
It is less about, And he kind of, like, looks around, and he points to, like, specific barrels and things. If you could get, 5 to 10 of those sizes, and they're fairly large kegs, and it would pretty much fill the cart, and that's basically what they say is, like,
Okay.
Ravala would like a full cart. There is payment within the crate, do not worry. He'll be very happy to see it.
Excellent.
Do we know how far the lake is?
About 2 days.
We'll just ready up. I think we're ready.
Yeah, let's go get
Okay.
supplies and we're gonna head out.
Okay. So we'll montage that. We'll assume you kind of go get some basic supplies, get your rations, get some food, etc. No big deal. We don't have to really get into all that.
Is
But
the box like light enough for someone as strong as Burdock to just kind of like one hand walk around with?
Yeah, you could easily. Yeah, you could carry.
Okay.
It. Yeah.
He just does. He doesn't ever seem to get tired. He just follows you guys around with
He's
it.
just carrying. He's dragging his cart, holding the bag.
He doesn't have the mule.
He doesn't put it in the cart. He
Yeah.
just
He
he's
is
got
the
both.
mule.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, sorry about that box stuff, but orders is orders, right?
It's part of the job, I understand.
She seems
I'm
to trust
Doc.
you.
He puts out like a big weather-worn hand that's like all scuffed up and dusty and beat up. No one does it. Hey.
Oh yeah,
Picked it up.
Octavia totally shakes your hand immediately.
Okay. He's like, I saw some humans doing this, and it's kind of nice. It feels cool. It's like real friendly.
It is a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
Sonenka says, this thing is overrated. We have voices, we use them. I say hello, you say hello back. We're fine.
Okay, yeah, I respect that.
As like Octavia's behind Sinenka, like, she likes it. We're friends. She's my best friend.
I don't know. Not getting that vibe.
Octavia is oblivious to it.
And she will engage in conversation, like it's not necessarily to be unfriendly, but like physical contact is not necessarily required for engaging in travel together.
Yeah, despite looking really dumb, Doc isn't actually that dumb. So he picks up on it. He's like, okay, yeah. And so he'll just kind of follow you around and be quiet as you guys are going about your business.
Cool.
Did you're a Husk order?
No, it's a different species. We didn't really get into it too much. So.
It's like Mags or no?
No, much bigger.
Oh.
Yeah, it's got the size of like a Huskor, like big, strong looking, but more like golem-like, rock-like sort of. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, more
Is
like
this a new one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I made it along with Jeff. But it's basically like, I don't want to give away all your secrets, but it's basically a Huskor stats wise. But
Yeah.
Okay. I like
Yeah.
it.
All right.
All right, so you guys go around, you get your stuff, say your goodbyes. Do you want, like, just generally speaking, do you want to set it up so that you travel in the morning, travel in the afternoon, or travel at night?
I think. What time is it now?
We'll say that was early morning.
So maybe we can just head out afternoon.
Okay.
Yeah, get some food and then head out.
Okay. So, like I said, I went back and I dug back into the hex crawl stuff. So, moving through the waste districts, which is where you guys are, you are famous, Chuck. Takes about you can travel about 2 miles per hour because of just the ruins itself. It's the equivalent of like light forest, desert. It's not too terrible. Certain places to the south are probably a little more intense, but in the northern parts when you're traveling through, because you're essentially just kind of cutting eastward across. Like if you look at the hex map itself, you guys are going to be leaving out of the main gate and just sort of traveling eastward a bit, and then finding a spot around the lake. You're going to be able to move at about 2.5 to like 3 hexes a day, which means that you're going to have to camp out like once at some point, barring other things that might potentially happen. So you guys go ahead, you get your things together, and then you separate and you come back together and you meet up by the large kind of entry bridge. So to remind you, between the Grub Hill and the Wrecker District, there is effectively a bridge that traverses over top of a very deep crevice. And you can see that on either sides of the bridge, almost as entry points, so these pylons that hum with kind of some kind of electricity, and they give off kind of this faint flickering that when they're in effect, Husk enforcers are there as guards. And when it's not like during the day, you can kind of pass freely, but in certain times, like they have to like turn to shut things off. But eventually you guys go ahead and you travel through. And the immediate area around Big Husk, just outside of it, is mostly like tattered and broken down. Like everything's kind of been flattened to some degree. You can see definitely there's rubble everywhere. There's no vegetation at all. Like you can see there's definitely signs of old structures, old buildings and things. You even see like there's small little areas where people have been camping together, like staying outside of the city for whatever reason. The bridge itself, especially if you're leaving during the day, you're seeing people come and go fairly regularly. You don't see, like compared to the population itself, it's a fairly small population. Not a ton of people go out into the waste districts because they are fairly dangerous. So you travel around for a couple hours out of the city, and you get by that kind of first flattened area, which is a couple miles, and eventually you start seeing like the further and further away you get from the city itself, the rubble grows taller and taller and taller. So there's this ring of flattened area, then there's like a ring of area where it's just like 3 to 4 stories high maybe. There's like curious cuts of like there's the concrete and the metal, and you can see that it's not that these buildings were only 3 or 4 stories high. They were likely much taller, but something almost like in a straight line like just cut the tops off, and you can see that they're all over the place. Like all the roofs, the other floors are scattered about. There's some like kind of brownish vegetation that tries to grow within them. And you can see that to the north, there's these huge circular areas of kind of flattened down empty land where you think some of those farming platforms used to probably sit down when not in use. Who would we say is kind of leading the way?
So Nenka's been to the lake before, so maybe she...
Yeah, Burdock has never left Big Husk, so he doesn't really have a lot of survival skills like that.
Yeah, Seneca's a carter, so I'm imagining she's done a bit of traveling outside.
Okay. So most of the travel for the first couple hours is fairly uneventful. At one point, though, as you're about 4 hours or so out, and you've, for all intents and purposes, like mechanically speaking, have kind of traversed almost a hex and a half or so. Sonica, you see movement on the horizon. Go ahead and roll a notice whiz.
9.
All right. That will be contested. Okay. You see up ahead, you manage to come behind this massive like concrete pile of age-old rubble. And you can actually see there's almost like a sloping face of some great size that has been sort of broken apart and shattered and is within this rubble pile. But you're able to hide behind it and obscure your sight. You see movement on the horizon, maybe about a mile away, down what looks like a path, like almost like a road between like 2 rows of buildings, and you manage to kind of like hold back and put a hand up to get everybody else to stop. And you can see that there's about 4 people up ahead that you can see, and they seem to have a very large cart of some kind, and it looks like there's like this tarp that they're trying to like keep track of, that keeps kind of flying away, and they're trying to like rope it down as like the wind is kicking up. You don't think they've noticed you yet. You're a bit far away. You can either try to kind of go past them, approach them, or you can backtrack a little, take a different path if you want to go by without without kind of engaging them.
Oh, we're not too loaded down yet. Do we want to just try to go around them?
Unless do they seem like they're in danger or struggling with something and they need help?
It looks like they have something pretty big in the back of their cart, and they're trying to keep it covered, but they're having trouble. Like the wind's kicking up. Yeah. But the way you're going, like this is the easiest path forward, but that would mean going past them, and you never know what that's going to be like. Or you would backtrack and kind of rotate around. It would slow you down a little bit, but if you wanted to not have them see you, you probably could easily do that. Or you could just go headlong straight and see what happens.
How many did you say there were?
Looks like 4 from her check.
I don't mind just passing through.
Yeah, same.
Okay. All right.
That doesn't seem to be any of our business, honestly.
Okay. So as you start passing by, you get within about 300, 400 feet, and you notice that 2 of them begin to spread off to the sides at this point. Sonika, I'll roll over your perception, your notice check, I should say. You can see that they have what look like crude crossbows, and they take up position behind these half walls off to the side, and you can notice as they just rest them right on top of it, and they're pointing off in your direction. Meanwhile, the other 2, they take a few steps up in front of their wagon, and you notice at this distance, one of them actually looks to be Huskorg. Like you could tell just by how tall they are, like 8 feet tall. But standing in front of them is it's kind of a small, slender creature. Looks like maybe humanoid, maybe across the car. You're not sure exactly from a couple hundred feet away. But they have weapons out. The Huskorg has this big ass like warhammer just like right across their shoulders, and you can see the giant beefy like masher head of it is just hanging off the other side. And the person who's standing in front of them has like a blade that's just tipped into the ground, and they're just kind of leaning on the hilt, waiting for you to get closer.
They definitely spotted us.
At this point, they had so the way it kind of works is there, like when you do like these random checks, like you can actually do contested notice whiz, and she was able to see it, and like had you guys not gone forward, and if you would have backtracked, they would never have seen you.
Gotcha.
They've seen us now.
Murdoch looks over at Octave and he goes, "I want that hammer."
Well, I mean, I don't know. The Huskars were kind of crazy, but Octavia just waves because I don't think they can hear me just yet from where we're at.
A couple hundred feet. So if you shouted, they could probably hear you. It's a little windy, but you could shout. So don't expect.
Jeff, I don't. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. That well met might come into play.
No, definitely will. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Then Octavia just kind of like waves really excitedly. Hi, hello.
Okay. It doesn't look like the crossbows are pointed at you, but they're not firing. At this point, Sonika, you would think that if they wanted to, they could probably shoot. But they're kind of blocking the path. They're right in your way, the 2 that are in the road still.
Uh-huh.
Do you guys still push forward?
They didn't respond when Octavia talked to them.
If so, she shouts that out. You'll see one of them kind of hold, like the one in front, not the Huskorg, but the giant warhammer, just kind of holds up their hand, and you can see it's gloved.
Like a stop or like a wave?
More like just a recognition of you and a return recognition. Not like a hi. No, nothing like that. No, definitely not that.
So they're kind of in our way. Do we want to go somewhere else or
Yeah, I mean, can we go around, or is that going to add too much to the journey?
There's room there's room. You can make it.
Okay.
But like they haven't fired at you. It's just a question of do you want to go engage them further, or do you just want to turn around at this point?
Probably gonna want something for us to go through. Let's just bargain with them real quick. I mean, they
Yeah.
haven't
What if
fired
we
yet.
what if we just say to them like, hey, we're just going around. We're not looking for any trouble.
Okay.
You know, keep your hands to yourself. Keep our hands to ourselves. Like.
Okay.
Anyway, I think Burdox might try that. He might just say, hey, look,
Right ahead.
no need for violence here. We're just travelers.
Okay. So you can see that the giant Husker kind of leans down, says something, and the one in front kind of turns back, and at this point you see like hair flapping behind you. Realize it's a woman that's been standing up in front and that hold up the gauntleted hand, and they exchange for a little bit. She points at the two crossbowmen who have started to flank on either sides of the road, and then holds the hand up and just waves you all forward, just as if like you can come forward now.
Okay. Progress.
We'll do so then.
Okay. So you start coming up and you realize this woman, she kind of steps off to the side, and when you look at her, she's just human. You can see this braid that's flapping around in the breeze. And she says, when you get within probably about 30 feet, she says, "My crossbowmen of the finest ability. If you try anything funny with our quarry, you will find a quarrel within each one of your bellies. Do you understand me?"
Yeah, we're just trying to go to like the lake.
My belly's not hungry enough for no coral either, so
The Huskor behind just kind of laughs at that. She kind of looks up at him like, "What are you embarrassing me? You're going to the lake. For what reason? It's a very toxic place for all of our kinds."
I've never been.
we got business up there. Nothing big.
What kind of business?
Private,
Friendship.
mostly private business.
Private
Speaking of
business.
friendship, my name is Octavia. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Is it? If you say
Yeah.
so. Octavia.
Could I also have your name
No.
or a nickname for you?
Nicknames are normally given by others.
I've never had to give a nickname before, and then like Octavia's just stressed.
She looks
She's
at
right about that
Vice.
nickname stuff. Yeah.
She looks at Vice. She looks at Sunenka. Like, is anyone here? Like, oh god, you guys are. So she'll settle in on Sunenka. She'll be like, "I see you two have trouble finding good help." Completely ignoring Octavia, totally cold shouldering, kind of rude. Like, "I see you also have trouble finding capable help who don't know when to keep their mouths shut."
She means well.
Hmm.
She does.
So
But
this is going over my head, so I'm just like, mhm, I do.
we're just trying to travel, and we're trying to see if you're going to impede our progress or allow us to move forward.
The districts are free for you to travel. If you mean us no harm, you go right ahead. I should
Do you
warn
mean
you, though,
us
that
harm?
you are not the only one we have met going eastward to the lake. It seems a very popular place.
So we've heard that we have no quarrel with you.
If that is the case, the road is yours. She kind of steps off to the side. And like,
Can
there's-
I ask if you were expecting trouble? Is there a reason why you're so well fortified here?
You can see that she tenses. We're not well fortified.
But you want to portray the appearance of being well fortified.
We are scavengers like yourselves, returning to the husk. And we don't want folks like yourselves to steal away our finds in the last leg of our journey.
It's all yours as far as we're concerned. You keep what you found. want nothing to do with that.
She nods. So she was tensing a second ago when like Sonika started like poking away at it, and now she kind of the tension sort of list. Like you can see that like releases a little bit on her shoulders. Like that's true. Fair travel to you.
Thanks.
She steps off to the
Murdoch
side.
looks at the Husk org and he winks at him. He's like, "You got a pretty hammer."
Thanks, man. Like, and he just kind of moves it around. It's pretty good. Watch this, and he just and just like the crown just explodes, and just bricks start scattering left and right, and concrete and dirt. He picks it up.
Yeah, she's a beaut. She's a beaut. Take good care of her.
I will. Bye. Nice meeting you
Bye.
all.
That was so cool.
Murdoch says to Octavia, kind of on the down, he's like, "I bet that hammer's got a nickname."
This is now a concern. I'm gonna have to think of nicknames for y'all.
Okay. So you guys pass. They watch you the whole way. Sonika, you notice that the crossbow people, they continue to point at you the entire time you pass. It's a little tense.
Mm.
Your carts fit on the road together, but like they almost touch. You can see that there's something underneath the tarp. You can see like the flash and flicker of like metal, like of the sun kind of flickering off metal, and you can tell that there's some ancient tech in there, some big pieces, and you would know that is that's really good stuff. They found something fairly lucrative in there, and they're very cautious as you pass by. But as long as you guys don't do anything, 100 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet, and you don't feel any crossbow bolts show up in your backs, and eventually you look back and they've started moving as well, off in the other direction. 2 ships passing in the afternoon. Okay. And so you guys...
That explains why they were so tense, you know?
Yeah. So ancient salvage, ancient tech is like pretty huge stuff. Like there's lots of things that it can potentially provide you. So you guys get through one of the, I'm going to go ahead and move us a little bit over. You get through one hex without much difficulty. Just that tiny little tense moment. Eventually, it's getting a little dark, but you're able to kind of push through probably one more hex before the sunlight fully comes down. You can see this time that, like, again, as you guys travel, it's like the buildings get taller, but also sparser. And so they're starting to, the remnants of whoever once lived here. It's not that they built so spread out. It's just that some of them have just collapsed. And you can still, because you're literally climbing over rubble. You're really only moving about 2 miles an hour. And it's not because you guys can't walk any faster. It's just because you have a cart and you're constantly having to like pull it up this particular pile or down that particular slope, and it's just kind of slow going in that regard.
Seneka's going to go back to Octavia, who kind of seems to be a bit kind of lost in her thoughts, and Seneka's going to say, you can name the pets if you want.
Yeah. And that's all you get from Octavia.
There's 3 of them. You can even name all 3 if you want.
Yeah, maybe. She's just brewing on the fact that you yelled at her about your brother, and then she realized she doesn't have a nickname. But she hasn't said any of this, so you guys just know she's just being moody.
Okay.
And so Nenka's like, it's a little bit of quiet.
Yeah, you're like, this is nice.
Okay, so since you two are talking, Vice, Burdock, why don't you guys both make notice whiz tests as you're passing through this next hex. So 2d6s again, Logan, and we'll. Okay.
I think I got it. Maybe.
Okay. So, yeah, 8 and 9 are both good. You guys notice because the sun's starting to go down. The sun's multiple. It's kind of a weird sky. But it's getting dark essentially, and the buildings are getting increasingly taller and taller to the point where they're 30, 40, 50 stories high every now and then. Some of them, and then there's other smaller like ruins in between. You also see more than one like tunnel that seems to go down deep into the into this kind of subterranean efforts. The dust storm is still kicking up too. And Vice and Burdock and Burdock, you both notice as you're traveling, as Octavia and Sonica are talking behind you, and you look up and you can see that connecting various skyscrapers essentially is you see these like walkways that are connecting one to the next, here and there, almost like it's creating its own little maze. And you can see that 30, 40 stories high, there are these like little walkways between them. It's hard to tell whether they're there initially or whether they were kind of built at some other point. But you also see, and I would say Burdock, you would notice this with the 9, you see flickering light in some of the windows really high up, as if there's like flames, suggesting there's like some activity up there.
Yeah, so he'll say to Vice, he's like, hey, you know about anybody living in those things?
Could have inhabited the place. Maybe there's travelers just pulling up as well.
Can't imagine there's much to eat out here.
Who knows what you could find?
Well, I hope they're friendly if we run into them. Those last guys were a bit too on edge for my taste.
That's how scavenger groups go.
Yeah. Is that par for the course for you? You do this a lot?
I've been outside the walls every now and then. People get pretty antsy.
First time. A little nervous.
Well, we've come back a couple times, so hopefully it's not the last.
Well, as promised. Puts my mind at ease. Thanks, Vice.
Anytime.
So you guys push forward. 2 of you probably out in front at this point, while Sonica tries to console the moody Octavia in the back. And Burdock, are you still carrying the crate, by the way?
Oh, yeah. Like, he sleeps like that. He's like, he's just got it.
He's going to have the worst kink in his neck.
He never gets those. It's weird.
So weird. Okay. The sun goes down. You realize it's probably about time to camp, and the dust storm's kicking up. So the two of you start kind of searching around for a good place to camp, and you notice as you're finding a good spot that there is this kind of large decorative fountain in the middle of what looks like an intersection of 4 large skyscrapers, like a square, so to speak.
Okay.
And you can see that there's this really robust and very tall like needle that comes out of the center of this fountain. And something kind of seems off as to your kind of moving the carts up. And you notice that there are bodies laying around. You see 2 of them. One of them is literally inside the fountain. One of them is like broken over the side of the fountain itself. And a third is like awkwardly impaled on top of the needle itself. And looks relatively recent. Doesn't look like these are old bodies. This could probably be within a day or so.
They look like sentient beings.
Yeah, I would say you would be able to recognize outright that 2 of these are humans and one of these Vice is crossed a car in.
So it's not just animals. Then.
How far is this from us?
Right in front of you.
I was right back.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take a closer look then, see maybe when or how they died.
Okay. You want to roll like, what are you thinking? Like heal or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead and roll heal, whiz, intelligence, either of that.
Is there a way to assist somehow?
Yeah, you can roll the same. Or you can roll a skill that you think would help. Like, what do you think would help?
Okay.
What could Burdock do in this situation to give him a hand?
What can you do? Well, what are the lighting conditions?
It's dark. It's getting dark at this point, so I'll say just the last slivers of light.
Okay. Maybe you could pull out some kind of light source and just hold it while Vice is taking a close look.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So, well, I won't even do a roll with that one. You can go ahead and just take a +1 with that, Vice.
Okay.
Yeah. Easy enough to just pull out a lantern.
Yeah.
Got an 8.
Okay. As far as you can tell, and it seems you're pretty confident of this, that it's just like it's sort of a horrific scene. They are like splattered, and you think that they have fallen from great heights. And while you don't think the impalement was intentional, it probably was kind of interesting as well. But you can see that like it's as if these are bodies that have fallen from a significant height. And you look up and you can see around this little square that you're in with the 4 connected skyscrapers, you can see walkways, like just barely, like, well, you can't see them now anymore, I should say, but moments before when the sun was still up, you could.
Are they look like they got gear on them, or
they got clothes on, but you don't see any major gear, no.
I guess that answers the question of whether or not they're friendly.
Are they bound at all? Like,
no.
Okay.
No, and I would say with 8, you would probably know that like some of the blood isn't like kind of completely dry, so it probably could have happened today.
I'm wondering if they're like injured in any other way instead of the splatter. Like if we can, unless they're just all mush.
It's pretty ugly. You would imagine they've fallen from, like, this isn't like a 2 or 3 story fall. This is like a very high fall.
So it's not really possible to tell if they were dead before they were pushed.
Not with just like a quick look through like you're doing. Like you would have to kind of do like a forensic, like, you know, get in a lab, put a light on, play some like.
Doesn't seem like a very good place to camp now, does it?
So I'm just kind of wondering if this was intentional or like unintentional sort of thing.
Whether they like if they fell or if they're
like forced off. Yeah.
Okay. Roll a notice whiz. Anybody who wants to.
Yeah, I'll try. Got an 8 again.
Okay. That's good. That's what I was looking for. 8 was good. 6 is not so much, but 8. You notice that there are lots of these. Unfortunately, Burdock, you don't really notice. But you're probably too busy holding the lamp and the lights in your eyes.
And the box.
My beady little eyes. Yeah.
But Vice, you start to look around and you notice there are all sorts of these these little tiny impact marks in the ground around you. You can see there's discoloration here and there, the fountain too. You also find like occasional like old bone. You think this is like a regular spot possibly where people fall or are thrown.
I think I've seen this movie.
Where there's bodies, though, there's potentially predators or like scavengers of some kind.
Good point. I wouldn't have thought of that.
So Nika wants to look up and look for movement.
So it's pretty dark at this point, but once Vice and Burdock pointed out, you can kind of see that there's the flickering of lights up there, like somebody has lanterns or a fire or something in some of the apartments well up. And again,
spend effort for savage senses.
So you can see in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's a plus. Yeah.
I mean, there's no movement immediately around you, and the lights that they're pointing out are so far up. They're like literally 30 to 40 stories up. They're like very high up, and the walkways are very high up as well.
Is this something we can just go through, or do we have to like?
You're just in a square. You're like in a square, like an intersection of streets. You can do whatever you want.
We know that we are in a place where people get pushed from high heights.
Get murder dropped. And I don't particularly want to feel like getting murder dropped today, so maybe we keep on trucking.
Yeah, it'd be smart to just go through.
Okay. So you continue traveling in the dark past this as best you can. Do you move quickly away from here, or do you try to move stealthily away from here?
Move quick. I can't move quick, but...
Okay.
We already pulled out lights and stuff, so I'd say
okay.
Quick.
Let's say Sinenka, you're the one who you said you bonded with the like the pack animal and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and try to roll a lead wisdom to see if you can get this thing to. It's been working all day. It's been traveling all day.
No.
You try to get this thing to hurry up, and it's just like slowly. A couple times it tries to just sort of move down onto the ground like it's falling asleep, and you gotta like kind of no, we need to keep going, and it's like it's this big
The body.
shaggy ox, right?
The body. That's it.
It's like- and it just kind of curls and that's when you guys hear a coming from somewhere up in one of the buildings, followed
Damn.
seconds later by a slightly different pitch from a different place. As you guys are watching, you see like a pattern begins to form as various lights in the little cutout windows of the building starts lighting up. And you can see activity has begun to sprout within this little square as you guys are trying to move away from it, but this damn animal just is not wanting to move. What do you guys want to do? Wrecked is right.
So is
We,
it
like-
exhausted that he stopped?
It just looks like he's really tired, and Seneca is having trouble convincing it to move forward.
Can we all like lift on this thing? Like,
Absolutely.
we
Absolutely.
like Scooby do this? Like everybody just like,
Like
Okay.
Flintstones with their car.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. So let's say everybody is going to physically do something here. Exert probably seems like the most sense here. So either exert strength or exert dexterity. And we'll see how many successes we got. Looking for a DC 8.
I got a 9.
Okay. That's 2 successes
9
so
as well.
far. I like where this is going. If I get one more, I think you guys will be okay. And we still got Burdock. Burdock is like the exert master. So
Is
we're
that
probably
under
gonna be all right.
skills?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
so it should be it's left column.
2D. Yeah, here we go.
Uh-oh, we lost
We
Melissa.
lost Melissa.
Died.
We lost Melissa. Do I have a 4-person one I can throw us on for a second? Nope.
Take
doesn't
that
work.
overlay.
I was gonna go put us on a break screen for a minute, folks. Give us a second while we wait for Melissa. She probably blue screen to death. So
Oh no.
putting us on the break screen for a second. We'll be right back. All right, we should be back. A couple people in the wrong place, though. Oh my God, what is going on with these people here? All right, there we go. Sorry about that. So let's see. Burdock passed. Octavia passed. Vice passed. Seneca, go ahead and roll a strength test or exert strength test to see if, or dexterity is fine too. Anything physical to try to help. You guys are all lifting up this shaggy ox and trying to move it forward, like quickly, helping
First
it
time
out.
Burdock lets go of the box. Like he puts it in the cart and puts the cart on the thing and then like tries to lift it all.
So you guys hustle as best you can, and you do manage to get the animal up and moving. And some of you are actually grabbing holds of some of the reins and helping pull the cart so it's not having to do all the work
That's
for you.
Octavia. I'm just
Yeah.
going.
And you guys can hear the sounds of machines behind you, like engines, like kind of
Oh,
going
no.
up. You're still hearing those. And when you look back, Vice will say, you look back as you get over a ridge and you start going down the slope, this like in the dark for the most part. You can see that there's random lights, these bright white and kind of yellowish light moving about all over the place where you guys just were. And they're moving at great speed in like circles. And you're kind of hearing these distant shouts of voices and things. And every now and then those horns sound. But because your eyes were able to get a couple of strength successes here, you're able to push past, and they don't seem to follow you up and over the ridge that you guys managed to push your animal above. We'll say you guys travel for a little bit longer, and eventually you go ahead and camp for the night. So we'll move you one more of these hexes.
Does this kind of shit happen often when you do favors for Ruvalo?
I mean, leaving is generally not super safe, but
Chance you
Yeah.
take.
I heard tell it wasn't so great out here, but
it's
just getting chased by
exciting.
weird lights and
Yeah.
death spires. I don't know, man.
Not to scare you, but Vice and I have had like light people enter our bodies. Do not recommend.
I don't like the sounds of that at all. I think I'd rather get shot by those crossbows.
It's just a slight hangover. Like drink at the pub. You'll be fine the next day.
I think he's gonna try to sleep underneath the pack animal tonight. He's
Okay.
gonna lift like a tauntaun, like try to get under it.
Chat says you should
Oh
you should
gosh.
take burdock charcoal fishing.
Oh no!
It's
Just
dangerous.
be
place.
like, here's the entrance to our friend Mag's house.
And big Husk Charcolodon fish you.
Yeah, it's true.
True.
It's true.
Can confirm I was fished.
Yeah.
Can Burdock and Sonenka roll? We'll say notice whiz tests. Just roll notice.
Gotcha.
I'll switch over. One of the things you have to do sometimes with the character sheet, you have to switch like the base attribute. I'm trying to catch up and do it when I can. Okay. Burdock, you get a wonderful night's sleep. You're underneath the cart. You're next to the pack
Yeah.
animal. The two of you
Like a little kid, like under the bed.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Everything's fine.
if I'm down
So-
here, there's no monsters down here. It's just me. So.
But
If my
Sonic,
savage senses would have gone away, then that would only be a 7. Because it lasts for the scene.
it's fine. We can do it for this scene.
Okay.
You, as you guys are all sleeping, Burdock and the animal, you're not sure which one of them is snoring so loudly, but definitely one of the two of them is just like the most deviated of deviated septums is going on right now. But that's not necessarily what wakes you up. What wakes you up is the sudden glowing of lights. As you see, when you roll over Sonenka, you see just standing right on top of where Vice and Octavia are. You see these tall, like 9-foot tall, glowing figures that chat has called moon gorillas, standing over top of them. And they're glowing and they're semi-translucent. You can't quite get a look at any sort of facial expression. And they're just sort of standing right over top of them. And you see each one of them has a hand, this long, kind of long-fingered, long-armed hand. It doesn't look like they have 5 fingers. It looks more like they have like maybe 3 or 4, like 3 and then maybe like a thumb. And they're like holding it, like hovering up above both of their heads. One of them over top of Vice, one of them over top of Octavia. And there's like this beam that seems to just be like tethered and connecting between the foreheads of each of your friends and these glowing figures.
So seeing this, she is going to look around at kind of what's right in the area. So is this like rocky ground?
You guys
Like, are there
found
some-
a relatively flat spot to camp. You probably put yourselves up against a broken wall to cut some of the wind.
Okay. Trying to find something that I can throw.
Oh, there's rocks and stuff on the ground. That's easy enough.
Okay. So I want to just grab a couple of them because it might take me a little bit to kind of get
Okay.
situated. So I just want to throw a rock at Doc, and then throw.
You hit him right in the face. He's bleeding now. He gets up angry. No, you can wake him
Still
up.
sleeping.
Takes like 6. Like whoosh, hit him lightly, like small pebble first, and a little bit of rock, and finally just get a freaking cinder block, and you just chuck it at him. It smashes up against his head, and he wakes up.
He's like, Mom, I'll get up.
But Burdock, you roll over, and you can see Sonica kind of doing one of those things, and then pointing, and you see something you've never seen before. These 9-foot tall glowing figures with these almost banana sloping like heads, long arms, long legs, and each of them has a hand extended over top of the heads of Vice and Octavia, and there's like some kind of tether between the hand's palm and the forehead of your traveling companion.
He sees that and he goes, nope, don't like that at all. Nope. And he's gonna like launch himself in a tackle at one of them.
You launch forward and you just go directly through them as they are not in physical form. You stumble down onto the ground. Rocks. Turn up, and they're still there. Sonika, you saw the Evers, like a very brief like flickering, as if they almost like the creatures that you guys saw when you were down in those tunnels. The flickering kind of gremlinish like yellow. Kind of the same thing where it just sort of flickers out and then flickers back in. And when Burdock leapt through them, it seemed to disrupt them, but they quickly regained form.
I'm going to see if I can so I'm gonna kind of have like a dagger out, and I'm gonna see if I can kind of go over and just like roll Octavia over. I'm trying to see if this might do something to kind of disrupt what they're doing.
Okay. Yeah, you roll Octavia over, and you can see that like that tether, that beam shuts down for a second, but then that like the hand moves and is able to find a better angle. But yeah, it does seem to disrupt it, but it doesn't make the apparition go away.
Can I roll myself in such a way that sort of I am, like at least part of my body is sort of between her and...
Yeah, if you continue to try to just be an irritant, like it's just a constant state of like you getting in the way, them readjusting, you getting in the way, them readjusting.
Does she wake up while I'm rolling her?
No, actually, she does not. She's out like a light.
Oh.
Get it like a light because there's light. Thanks a lot.
Can we maybe disrupt the beam with something big? Like, if there's like a big enough chunk of rock, maybe Doc will pick it up and like try to put it in the path of the beam.
Okay.
And like he's gonna like kick Weiss at the same time, like wake up, god damn it!
Weiss
There's
wakes
shit
up,
happening.
broken leg. Yeah. So you take a. You said you wanted to be a rock. Okay.
Yeah, if there's like a slab of some dense material besides myself, I'm gonna try to put it between.
Roll a luck test. So on the first page, just roll a luck. It's like a luck save. We'll just do that.
On the character sheet?
Yeah, on the character sheet. It's like on the same page as like evasion, mental, physical luck. So just roll that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put this you get this big chunk of rock and you put it in the way. And you can see that like they try to move the beam, then like the other arm comes down, and then you see a flash, like a burst of light just erupt from it and just completely disintegrate the rock that you just placed in from this big meaty piece of rock that is
just
now
holding sand.
It's just like falling on top of Weiss at this point.
The hell do we do, Sanenka?
I don't.
Did this kick wake me up, or am I?
Did not wake you up.
Okay.
Both of you guys are out. Why don't the two of you? Why don't Sanenka and Burdock? Why don't you guys roll like a no int, like just see how smart you guys are. If you can't come up with something that doesn't seem to be, the rocks don't seem to be interrupting the streams.
12.
I think as a player, like my next thing is to pick up the people and try to run with them. But
okay,
is no wonder skill? Yeah. Damn. I apologize for my incompetence in the system, folks.
No,
first time.
No worries.
Sanenka, you look down at your dagger and you see like a reflection of yourself in it. And it dawns on you. You wonder what happens if you were to sort of reflect the beam. So you take the metal, you slide it down, and you see the beam just shoot right back up, almost like it's sending it right back up into its palm. And you can see this massive flickering of light. And then much like a Ghostbuster trap, it just sucks right back down into Vice and goes away. Go over, do the same thing to Octavia, and then sucks right back up, and whatever it is that you're doing by reflecting the beam seem to have sort of caused it to break for much longer.
But these came from inside of them.
You saw both of those apparitions literally sucked down into the torsos and brains of Vice and Octavia.
So I'm going to turn to Doc and say, so yeah, when they said earlier that they got them in them and they thought it just gave them a hangover, apparently that was more than a hangover.
Yeah, it looks like.
So you
I
guys are
thought we was gonna have to dock around the clock. You know what I mean?
You guys are standing over top of them, and Vice and Octavia, you wake up. Vice, you're covered in dirt, and you're looking up at Burdock.
A
Your
weird
leg
dream.
hurts.
I was getting buried in the beach.
Octavia, you see Sinenka standing over top of you with a knife in her hand and a murderous look in her face.
Isn't that just her resting face?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Sinenka, what?
I tried to save you. The light gorilla thing came out of you and was like over, and I tried to protect you from it, and then it went back
I
in.
wonder if I could still communicate with it. And then again, like I did last time, Octavia will continue to try and talk to it in her body. And be like, hello, fellow moon gorilla in my body.
Okay.
Do I get an answer, Jeff?
I mean, I don't know. Like you hear a weird buzzing, like you have, like your ear just begins to ring and ring and ring until the point where like your eye starts to squint, and then it goes away. And when you reach up and touch your ear, it's covered in little bits of blood.
Bleeding.
Yeah.
Oof.
Did I seem distraught when I was sleeping?
No, you're fine. It was a nice sleep. Felt good. Weird dreams. You're right. But it's more like kind of cascades of images, as opposed to like anything narrative.
Do we recall anything from like the weird dreams?
Nothing really. Again, lots of weird images, lights, machinery, everything just kind of like a rapid flashing, like a PowerPoint presentation that's just turning way too fast.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad for your guys' sense of urgency, but I think it's out of my control for now.
Yeah, thank you, Sinenka, for watching for me.
I try to do everything I can, and so you're definitely getting the over explanation of like why you should be appreciative and why this was a good thing. Like I rolled you over to try to see if that would wake you up, and that wouldn't wake you up.
I mean, rolling me over to wake me up is just like I sleep like a log. We have those birds. You gotta tune things out.
I tried to tackle one of them some bitches, but I just went right through it.
You're lucky one didn't enter your body when you walked through it.
I hadn't thought of that. Jeff, when they got sucked back in, did it look like they went into a particular part of their bodies, like chest, head?
Yeah,
something?
I would say it definitely looked like it went into like their heads, like it just sort of right into the place where like they were trying to like drill those beams into.
Like my third eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was in like Vice's forehead too. He doesn't have a third
Okay.
eye, so it was more just like the area.
Got it.
If you weren't like people and stuff, I'd say break it open, get them out of there. But I think they're in there, they're good.
Octavia just looks at Vice like, no.
He means well. It's just I think he got his words out. But
Last resort. Try other things first.
What?
Last
But
resort.
I said if you weren't like people and stuff, but you're people, so
fair, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you see Senenka going like to lay back down, but definitely like a little bit farther away and watching the two of
Okay.
you.
Why do you call them moon gorillas?
Who came up with that?
It's a nickname.
Okay.
It's because they're moon shaped, I think. The head.
They got like the banana shape. Like, you ever seen those old like Pepsi commercial with the guy with the banana?
Oh
head?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's dating yourself, but yeah.
All right. So if it sounds like they gave even the apparition got a nickname. Octavia can't get a nickname, but these weird holographic maybe thingies. Okay.
Right? I'm all alone.
Morning eventually comes around. Everyone, you get your sleep. You're okay.
I don't know how much sleeping I do, but
Yeah. But you wake up and you continue your trek eastward. You get into next hex is essentially like hexes, by the way, in the game are roughly 6 miles. Pretty standard stuff. And you can see that you are traveling and you get to what looks like almost like a break or an edge of like a cliff that drops fairly precipitously. And you start to track your eyes around and you notice that it's more like a giant impact crater. And you can see that there's ripples going off away from the center of like destruction. And the further away it gets, the more solid the structures become. And you can still see there's like no buildings or anything like that are still upright. Some are kind of intact on the outer rims, but they're more like tipped over on their side. You also notice like at the base of the crater, there's these like geysers that periodically shoot what looks like some kind of liquid, water presumably, maybe something else in it, but it sort of shoots up every now and then. And you kind of watch for a few minutes, and there's maybe a dozen or so. It's about 2 miles across, you would probably guess. You have a choice of like kind of trying to skirt around the edge, which might take you a little bit longer, or just try to like find a slope and go directly across the center of the crater. Going right across definitely would be fast. But that does mean you have to kind of navigate some of those geysers.
how does the ox feel about this?
Ox got a good night's sleep. He's feeling
Yeah.
way better. He just like looks up at you.
We cuddled.
Something like that.
So they're cool with geysers. They're just like, yeah, all right.
It's just really tired. It's just like, man, it's just tired.
Yeah, I'm down to just go through.
Okay.
I'm just gonna avoid some geysers.
All right. Fair enough. Who wants to try to lead the way here? Senenka, is that you again?
Sure.
Sounds like nobody wants
Okay.
to.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
I was looking at my skills. I was like, what have I got?
All right. So yeah, you notice as you move through that it's like there's a kind of a gaseous smell around here. Like it smells almost sulfuric in some ways. The water that comes up is fairly silty, but it's still like liquidy. It's still, you can definitely tell there's water, but it's dirty. It's very dirty water. It would need to be cleaned and filtered pretty heavily to be usable. You do notice that there's like vegetation that's growing up along the base of the crater here and there. None of it's very pretty to look at, but it almost looks like this kind of brown green algae that's kind of forming. Green is not a very common color in the Waste District, so it's kind of standing out to you as you travel across. But moving across, you're able to time it out. They're not hard to notice. You can see the ground kind of begin to shake a little bit before a geyser spouts up, and so you're able to dodge it pretty quickly. You get around to the other side of the crater pretty easily. Takes probably about a half an hour to find an easy slope up that doesn't require you to just straight up pull the cart up vertically. But yeah, you manage to get off to the far side of the crater. Now you guys have a choice as you get to this ridge. You can see at this point that you're like the sky kind of like the horizon opens up pretty clearly as you've reached the edge of what looks like the city, like what likely would have been the edge of like the megalopolis area that you're in. And as you're staring way off in the distance, you can see what looks like water. There's almost like a mist or a fog that kind of blankets the water a bit in the distance, a couple miles away. But you can either try to kind of go further downward, taking a slope towards more what looks like a sandy, beachy front area, or you can kind of go a little bit further upward into some more rocky terrain. It's a little bit harder trek. The question is like which one's more secluded, which one's easier to kind of navigate. So it's kind of up to you guys. You have a choice to make. You know that Burdock needs to light a signal of some kind.
So elevation wise, it's by the lake still.
Yeah. So basically any hex around the water here is considered it.
So Burdock will ask Sinenka because she's like the leader person. Is this close to where the noodle guys is going?
Disconnected again.
Oh no.
She leaves.
She's like, I don't want to have any conversation with that guy.
She hates that computer, I'll tell you. Don't mind us. We're just gonna sit here like this. She'll be on here in a second.
I'm just gonna office space that computer later.
Yeah. See, this is where I was stupid, and there she comes. She's back now. Oh, okay, Long. Go ahead, take it away.
You're
Yeah,
leading
I
us
think
now.
we should head to the rocky place.
Well, you were the GM now.
Oh, I'm the GM.
You were in my seat. I'm just moving.
You
stuff
have
right
the
now.
power.
True story. Long is the only other person in our group who's actually GM'd.
Oh,
True.
Way back in the day. That was a good little adventure.
Good times.
It was fun. Looks like Ashley and Melissa are mixed up. All right, it's just musical chairs here. Okay, so Sinenka, Melissa, I'm not sure how much you heard, but basically you have a choice. Do you want to go down to the beachy area, which is like open and easier to access? It looks like. So there's a slope at this point. You have a choice. You can weave it down, or do you want to take like more of a eagle eye approach to it and go up a little bit higher, looking down onto the lake from above? You got to do the microphone thing every time. Melissa's about to blow a gasket. It's okay.
no.
It's okay. She's just gonna yell at me like crazy.
Do you have any heavy sledgehammers or mallets in the house?
Yeah, we do. Little known fact about Melissa, she's actually 14 feet tall. She looks tiny. She's enormous. Yeah.
Just below the camera, just all legs.
Just
She's just all legs.
just
Yeah.
muscle everywhere.
Her knees are actually like above her shoulders.
14 feet taller than
We
Elsa.
just can't see.
Yeah. She
The-
never skips leg day, but arm day, strangely enough, not for her. So what do
the
you guys
high
think?
option to have a better view.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So you guys start traveling up the rocky slope a bit. And okay. Interesting. And you manage it's a fairly simple path. It's not the easiest path, but it's a fairly simple path. It's more like a kind of a switchback as you're just trying to find places where the wagon can go. But eventually you find yourselves up towards the edge of a cliff that's maybe about 40 feet above the water of the lake. You look off to your east and you can see that there are like these large kind of stone pieces, like almost like not so much as rocks, but almost like these big thick slabs here and there. You're not even sure. They might actually not be natural. It just might be something has crumbled. Further east, you can see that the water seems like the lake seems to have some kind of tributary that goes up into the mountains somewhere. Everyone go ahead and roll a notice whiz. At this point, it's probably around afternoon, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that type of thing.
Got an 8.
Okay. Burdock also got an 8. Burdock and Octavia, both of you, as you're staring eastward, you notice that, like, towards the edge of the, like, where these broken slabs are slanting down into the water, you're on a fairly straightforward cliff. Okay, pretty simple. But think of just like these 30-degree angle slabs that are just running down into water with these huge other discs that are all mixed up here and there. You see the signs of movement and you see that there is a fire down there. It's not colorful. It's just like a normal fire, smoke going up. But you can see that there's people milling about down there. You guys probably have about a 20-foot height on the ridge above them, and I'll put them at probably about 400 or 500 feet away. But yeah, you can see that there's a handful over there, the two of you.
Burdock will like hold up a hand and say, "Hey, I think we got something down here, guys. Looks like people milling about."
Take a closer look, see what they're doing.
Okay, so you sneak up to the edge a little bit carefully. There's someone there ready to punch you right in the face as you.
Octavia just goes up to where it's mostly her third eye that's open that she's looking through now at this point.
Can you put one of the chinchillas up or something? Like...
Chinchilla grenade.
Squeak!
Just squeak. So does anyone have like a spyglass or binoculars or anything like that?
I mean, it would make sense that if we purchased it like with our supplies for the trip.
Okay.
But I'd say probably Sinenka, if any of us.
She's spending your money now, Sinenka.
Well, I would have bought it.
Just like a real friend.
Just like a real friend. She's totally like single white femaling Sinenka. That's what it's gonna be.
We're best friends. I'm the Karen of your life.
Okay. That's gonna be fairly expensive.
How expensive are they?
How much you got?
Oh God, I have a lot.
I have
That's
175.
Fine. It's fine. We'll hammer out the details. If you want one, you can have it, but it will cost a chunk. Okay. So Seneca, you take a look at this using like these different lenses. It's not like a perfect spyglass. It's like wrapped like leather here and there. It's crudely malshapen. And what you see is it looks like there's probably around a dozen people down there. However, only about 4 of them seem to be moving. The other 8 appeared to be laying down on the grounds of this kind of slanted rocky area. You can see what looks like signs of a battle. Looks like blood on the ground. You can see what looks like one corpse with a weapon just kind of sticking up out of it. And you notice that the figures you're looking at that are moving about, they don't look like Martine's like thugs, though a lot of the bodies that are on the ground do. Instead, they look a little different. They look kind of malshapen. One of them has what looks like almost like an old-fashioned 1950s like astronaut globe, like fish globe around their head. You see another that has what looks like a tank of like greenish liquid on its back that's sloshing around as it moves around and pokes at some of the bodies. Another one is sitting down with some colorful robe on, and if your eyes don't deceive you, the colors of the robe are actually kind of shifting and shimmering, but they're backs to you, and so you can't make out anything beyond it.
And there was a fire burning too?
Yeah, you can see that, and there's like a little, it's almost like there was a campfire, and there was a fight around this campfire.
We found Burning Man?
You found Burning Man. But you can tell, I would say, Seneca, that some of the bodies are dressed in sort of the same flair that Martine dresses a lot of his thugs. So whoever this other party is, have apparently picked a fight with Martine's thugs and have come away the victors.
And did the other party look like they could be the Nindarans?
No, most certainly not. No. I'll say if you want to roll a no int, it's going to be a DC 10 for you to be able to get this, though.
11.
You recognize them as they do not come to the Husk very often, and when they do, it's kind of, a strange sighting. These are strange kind of mutated derelicts from the Salted Waste, the radiocracy off to the northeast. they have traveled a fairly long distance to be away from their kind of radiated wasteland. And you know them to be, they're mostly like kind of this entire group, this region of people that they find status and purpose and like how irradiated they get. And so they're constantly trying to take on more radiation, more mutation, and getting crazier and crazier. And so they usually tend to stay in this very horrible wasteland to the north. That I'm going to say you've never been, but you've heard about, we'll say.
These guys sound awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
We're playing the wrong game.
Exactly.
Not really. This is a fine game.
No, it's all good. I agree. I was very excited about them when we were doing
The
some more loading in the beginning.
Radiocracy?
Yeah, the Sultan
What?
States of Radiocracy is the name of
that's
that
too cool.
region. But you
There's
know them to
12 of
be heavily mutated. They don't come out here on their own. Sometimes, like every now and then, there's been like a diplomatic delegation to the powers that be in Big Husk, but very rarely. Mainly because they like they radiate stuff there. They make people sick. Literally make them sick if they hang around you too long. Kind of like Long.
So do I know anything about
You missed the joke entirely.
like when they come, do they tend to be just fighting their way through anyone that they come across, or do they have like a peaceful reputation, or like what I know that with that role?
They go on crusades, but they go on crusades through the wastelands as they try to find like these abandoned like ancient machines out in the waste, like these machines of like war or something, stuff that fell from the sky. It's literally like a nuclear wasteland for miles and miles and miles and miles, like as far as the eye can see. And that's why no one goes up there.
Do they just try to break these machines apart to pour like liquid uranium on themselves or something?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So to see them here is incredibly odd. And there's really not a whole lot to judge in terms of interaction. But they are driven mad by like what happens with their, with their exposure. So like they could go, clearly they're sitting here and they've done something to them, to Martine's group.
I mean, good riddance for that, but I'll share with everyone that maybe we just hang out here and keep an eye on what they're doing and wait it out a
Gotta
little bit.
get down to
What do you
that
think?
lake.
Yeah, if we have to be careful about the signal to get the Nendarians to come up.
I
'cause
would
they'll
have
probably also
done the
notice
thing
it.
right here. Seems like a good spot for it, but not with this happening.
How many did you say there were?
There were like 12 bodies, but only 4 active. Like there's 8 dead bodies, it looks like. And of those 8 dead bodies, it looks like 2 of them are other of these derelicts, and the other 6 are like Martine's people.
Gotcha.
See a little cart off to the side. Another one of these ox-like creatures.
Maybe we could throw the card at him. not really. Just
Vice, give me
Donkey
a hand
Kong
with
him.
this really quick.
I mean, we're not as much of assholes as Martine is, so I mean, maybe we'd have better luck talking to them, but that's a good warning, it seems.
Can we go around him?
It would be a big backtrack. You'd like in terms of the hex, like you would be going into like 3 different hexes to get around, which would take like a whole extra day.
Could
Plus,
wait it
it's the
out.
less exciting option. So
We can wait it out a bit, see if they maybe leave. They're just here.
Yeah, just
for a
keep
bit.
a watch on them for a little bit.
Okay.
Pull out a sandwich, see what happens.
All right.
cover up the ox's mouth so he doesn't make any noises.
All right. Who wants to roll a sneak test for the group to try to keep them
God.
quiet and hidden? Who would
Yeah, I'll
like to
do
do? All right, Vice, go ahead. You're in charge of keeping everyone safe and quiet.
All right, guys, just be like the trees around us. An 8.
Okay. So, Sonica, you're still periodically keeping an eye on them. With Spyglass, Vice, you're keeping everyone quiet and being one with the trees, or whatever the hell you said.
Some kind of hippie shit.
There's no trees around, but okay, that's fine. But no, they don't seem to move. Night eventually falls as the sun goes down, and you can see that they light, the fire. They kind of light it up a little bit. Gets almost like a big bonfire, and then the one with like the colorful cloak stands next to it. Seneca is still like their back is. You've never really got a good view of their front, but you see them start to like do some weird movement of their arms, and as they do that, you see a third arm move out to the side as the gesticulation begins. The flame gets bigger and bigger and turns like this greenish blue, and it's just kind of pulsing bright, and the whole slanted like 30-degree angle slab and all of the other chunks of rock that have circumvented around the area are imbued by that blue-green glow. You wait around more?
Similar to the glow of the moon gorillas.
No.
Okay.
I think all that light makes Burdock nauseous. He just looks at it. He's like, oh man, what even is that? He's got that one squidgy arm. Oh.
Do you guys do anything? You could say no.
Almost anything's better than watching him gesticulate.
It is the color of the signal that Burdock you were instructed to do. Yeah, it's tool.
That's what I thought.
Hmm.
You keep watching,
Do you
Sinenka.
tell us that? Do we know?
That's true. Like you're the only one who actually knows this, by the way.
Right, yeah. I think he's gonna throw up a little bit, and he's like, he talks about the guy's arm creeping him out, and then he makes the connection, like you said, and he's like, look, I think they're trying to get in touch with the people we were sent to deal with, and Raval probably ain't gonna like that.
And Octavia just kind of like looks at Snenka and Weiss, because like I've never seen these people before.
Neither have
I mean,
any of us.
we got surprised. Might be able to jump them, scare them off, or something.
So, yeah, we're on a cliff, right? Is
Mhm.
it possible, like,
They're a couple hundred feet away. She's watching this through a spyglass. Remember.
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, you mean at this point you could sneak up on it. Like you see a path, there's other rocks. Like you could if you wanted to do that.
If they're the same business as us, I don't remember if we were talking about like a limited supply of this, or if Martin.
You're not aware of whether there's a limited supply, but like it's Ravala very much wants it for reasons he didn't divulge to you, and none of you really asked. So
We could get ourselves in a better position so that when the Nandarians respond to the signal, then we can also be there and maybe see what we can do for
Yeah.
Oh, sort of like
especially
three
cross
parties
bidding,
instead of-
maybe.
What if they want to do harm to him?
We can
Yeah,
keep
I
watching
mean,
them, see what
yeah.
happens.
Y'all. So
So
you,
we can try like a 3-party setup instead of like encountering them directly. We can do like all of us at
so
once.
Burdock's like, are you guys, prepared to act if they start?
Yeah.
hurting the Nandar- Okay.
Oh yeah.
So do you guys move from your current position and get closer, or do you just stay 200 plus?
We'll get closer then, since if
Yeah,
they're
we don't want to be
signaling,
that far.
that's what
Okay.
we know about.
All
Wanna
right.
be
So
close
then
enough
we'll
to take
ask
action.
Doc,
Okay.
like, was there a time frame? Like, once you set the signal, how long it should take them to respond, or are they supposed to respond pretty quick?
I mean, Ravala, his answers are vague and unconvincing. So he just, he had a system, and he said if I lit this stuff up, they turn up. I don't know how long though. I'm just concerned with these guys being all crazy, like you mentioned, that they're gonna hurt the guys we came to do deals with.
we should get closer and be prepared.
Okay. How close are you guys looking to get? To the point where like you could literally move and do something like in a combat action, like 30 feet or something like that. Is that what we're talking about?
I think so.
All
Is
right.
charging double?
Charging
Yeah,
is
it
double.
charges
maybe?
double.
Yeah, it's
We
double.
can do like a charge distance sort of thing.
Okay. So get within maybe like 50-ish feet.
Yeah.
Okay. That'll change the DC. I want sneak tests from everybody who's trying to get close. And if you're trying to get to 50 feet, DC 6. As just sneak dex is fine.
15.
Let's see.
The new guy outdoes Octavia.
It's not
As
hard to do.
the four of you, he's got a -1 too.
You got a nickname. It's gonna be slow poke because you got them pokers and you're slow.
Oh god.
So you guys, you can probably leave your cart back just to be safe.
Yeah, I would definitely.
Slowly descend, go from outcropping to outcropping. It's gotten dark, so that's helping you. There's still a little bit of light. There's planets and stars in the sky that are constantly giving weird visions. And as you guys get within about 60 or so feet, Vice, Sonica, you guys are easily like moving so quietly that even Octavia and Burdock like lose track of you. Burdock, you're doing pretty good as well. You're like every now and then your foot almost slips, but you catch yourself before loose rock begin to give you away. You and Octavia are maybe lagging a little behind as you're trying to move a little bit more slowly and quietly. And as you're taking a step forward, you see Octavia just completely miss a step and just go tumbling and sliding down that 30-degree slab. You eventually catch yourself on a small, little outcropping there. Grab onto it to keep yourself from sliding all the way down and off the edge and into the water. And then you stand up, but it's at that point that it seems pretty clear to Vice and Sonica and Burdock that all four of the individuals around the blue glowing flame rapidly turn around and they look in the direction of Octavia, and you hear like this high-pitched squeal, and you think they're yelling, but instead you see that when that robed individual turns around, you can see that where their torso is, there's like a small little creature like sitting inside that has like the arms sticking out like a Total Recall moment. And where the head should be, it's just this glass dome, and inside is another one of those creatures. And they're like cranking a hand crank, and you hear and all the other ones begin to charge towards Octavia at that point. We're in
We got
initiative
our
now.
distraction.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Okay.
Good looking out.
Okay, so let's do initiative. We're just gonna do this. We're gonna do this just theater of the mind. So let me throw a couple pieces down here.
3 gremlins in a trench coat. Sounds like.
That's exactly what it is. All right, so then I need to do.
Initiative. Okay.
Oh yeah, don't worry about it. It's like I can roll it for the whole group at
Okay.
the same time. I'm just getting the tokens set up. And don't worry about these. Okay. So
We're outnumbered.
No.
no,
It's 4 to 4.
It's 4 to 4.
Oh, okay. I thought.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
All right, I'm just getting this set up really fast. Let's roll some. Okay. So everyone would technically, let me re-roll that. Because of Octavia is.
You get a +1.
Why you guys keep coming up with the same? It's so weird. One sec. I know why. Sorry. Hostile. Yeah, that should be working. So weird. I don't know why it's doing that. You guys do get to go first because of the bonus from Octavia and Sinenka, or excuse me, from Octavia's third eye, in fact. So you guys actually do get the jump. You're not sure if any of them noticed the rest of you. They all seem to have thrown their attention in the direction of Octavia. But any of you can go in any order. You guys said you wanted to get within 50 feet. So with the exception of Octavia, all of you have gotten within 50 feet. Octavia
How
is
close am
actually
I?
closer because she slipped and fell and slid. And so she's like 30 feet unintentionally.
Okay.
any of
Well,
you
if we
go.
can catch him unawares, I think Burdock would like to charge the squibbly armed total recall guy
Okay.
and try to, Burdock's going to try to knock his block off just by like punching that fishbowl.
Okay. So you can do, so if you're 50 feet away from the flame, which is about where all of them were hanging out, your normal movement should be about 30 feet. Is what everyone basically is. And then the only choice you really have, you could do charge, which is you can take a wild charge before hurling a weapon or crashing into a foe, moving up to twice your normal move in a straight line before making a melee or thrown attack at -2 to hit. This is basically the only way you could get to them in attack on this turn. But you do suffer a -2 to your AC for this round.
Okay.
That's okay.
And
All
so
right.
it says that I crash into them. I guess that I could try to like shoulder check him into the fire, maybe.
Okay.
Jeff, would they get anything for surprise? Because they haven't been noticed yet. Is that a thing?
Like a surprise round. That's a good question. I totally forget. I should look that up. I'm trying to remember if there's a surprise round.
Have you guys like ambushed anybody yet?
No.
Oh.
I am
Wow.
Talk amongst
not
yourselves.
sneaky, as you can tell from how well this went.
Can't believe a group of adventurers, this far in, never ambushed anybody. It's amazing.
I am the warrior type. Have you ever seen like those like videos of they're in full plate armor and they're just like that's Octavia. Like,
Nice.
all the time.
All right, so I'm gonna say the three of you, you being Vice, Sonenka, and Burdock, you are gonna get a moment of surprise here. So yeah, you can go ahead and take an action.
So would that just be an attack or?
Yeah, so I'll say you can do your charge in, but basically they're not gonna get around yet. So you're gonna go ahead and do your charge in and do your attack.
Gotcha. Did that do a thing? Hold on. I think I.
Didn't hear anything.
All right, let me try again. Do you click on like the sword icon? Or...
I'm sorry, I was reading something.
Yeah, pick up the sword in your inventory. Should roll.
Okay.
Normally, when you mouse over the sword icon, it turns into a roll icon.
Yeah, you're doing the unarmed attack. Yeah, you should just click on the
Okay.
icon.
Here we go. Roll.
Oh, twice.
Oh, man.
What was the attack?
13 hit.
Yeah, 13 to hit.
Oh, there's
Okay.
a +2 for charging to 15.
+2 for charging is a 15 total, and this is specifically against the dude who's got the coat on and everything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll hit. What was the total damage?
All right, let's roll that.
I
That
think
was
it
three.
I think it
It's in
rolled
there.
with it. Yeah.
Oh, does it? Okay.
2 points of damage.
Oh, no, yeah.
The first one.
3 points of damage.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm gonna do what I'm gonna say is like you were specifically trying to knock him into the fire. And so I'm gonna say you manage to go up and you kind of shove into him, and he'll stumble back into the fire like this weird
Cool.
mutated things in fish bowls in a trench coat will stumble back into the fire. However, you do notice that it doesn't seem to be too dissuaded by the fact that it's standing in fire. It's this weird ever shifting kind of coat that it's got on seems to be kind of holding back the flame, and this aura of like what looks like blue and occasionally like flickers of orange begins to peel around it as if it's somehow protecting him from this fire, but it has done some damage. Okay, so then Vice or Sonica, you guys get a complete full round because they did not notice you. I rolled really bad on my.
Yeah, I'd like to just charge in as well.
We love to hear
Follow
it.
up on that.
Do you want to go on the same one?
Same one, yeah.
Okay, go right ahead. It's standing in the fire though, so charge in. Then I want you to make a luck save to see if you accidentally fall into the fire as well. It's like a fairly big bonfire at this point. Okay, yeah.
That's not a lot.
Well
Wow.
done. You're gonna very easily navigate around the fire, and you're gonna go in and you're gonna make your attack. Holy shit!
It's 25 to hit, but 2 damage.
That will definitely hit as you crack away at that weird bowl at the top where the head technically should be. That is a success. And then Sunenka.
Does it inflict any shock? Or no,
No,
that's if
shock
it
is only
doesn't
if it misses.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go
And-
ahead and throw a dagger because I didn't necessarily have. I couldn't have been like managing my bow while I was trying to sneak down, so
Okay, fair
I'm
enough.
just gonna chuck a dagger.
Yeah, it's minimum damage if it's more like shock damage. If you rolled higher shock damage and you rolled normal damage, you would get the shock damage. In this case, though, I don't think that was it, right? Long, you actually, yeah, it is. It inflicts 3 shock damage, so you would have done an extra point of damage to them.
Oh, okay.
There we go. Thank you for the reminder, red side, best side.
Thanks.
How'd you do, Sunenka?
I missed.
Okay, so you hurl at the same one that's in the fire.
Yeah, I'll focus fire.
Okay. With Burdock and Vice kind of right around them, Vice is doing a good job of kind of steering around, but Burdock, you're not used to having such a big, beefy front line, and you try not to hit him, and in doing so, the dagger just kind of twirls off into the night. Then we'll go ahead, and now we're into the first real round of combat. And now all of you can go, because you guys still rolled better initiative than them, so all of you could go, including Octavia. And don't forget, there's one of these, and there's 3 others. In any order, whatever you guys want. Just shout it out.
Well, you didn't get a chance to go yet, Ashley. Do you want to go?
Well, you guys are an immediate. I figured you guys are immediately there. You'll go, and then I'll see.
You're about 30 feet away. Yeah, like remember we
Yeah.
said that you by slipping down, you actually got a little bit closer to the camp,
Yeah.
and they were staying at 50 feet, a little bit higher and safer ground. So anyone can go. Just
Yeah, I'll
Go.
just follow it up with another strike since
Yeah.
somebody here.
yeah, go for it. Yeah, and I'll say, honestly, I'll say this thing's standing in fire, and there's 2 of you surrounding it. I mean, go ahead and you can take a +2 to this at this point, as it seems to be swarmed. Dude,
4 to
what are
hit.
you rolling? Oh my
18,
god.
19.
Wow.
Jeez. 3 more points of damage
more
as your
damage.
shock damage is again higher than your normal damage.
Blood for the blood god.
Okay. As you hack away at it. Burdock, Sunenka, or Octavia?
I believe because of the quality of my shoot skill, I can actually now load and shoot my bow.
Yeah. So you're keeping at a distance, and you're trying to aim. Now, I was going to say, are you still attacking the main guy, or are you going to try to attack the others? All right.
Yeah, same one.
I was
Smart to drop one, I think,
Right.
before we found the other.
I was going to say that it was going to be a little bit harder to hit this one at range, but it's fine. 16's still good. Total damage of 5. You guys have peppered the hell out of this thing, but it is still up.
See what I can do about it. I'm gonna try to hit him too.
Okay.
Um,
Fortunately, 9 points, but I will give you the same thing I gave to Vice. Give you the +2. And the +2 will hit. AC 10 is what you guys needed to hit for this one, and that's going to inflict 3 points of damage. And in this, you can see that you've cracked through the head, that
Yeah.
fishbowl head. It is cracked open completely, and that weird little shriveled body inside of it is breathing all strangely. But the one in the torso still seems to be functioning just fine.
she hits it with like a. Did you throw a dagger at it, Senenko?
Yes, I did.
So it hits him in the gut, and he like tucks, and then Burdock grabs him by the shoulder, and he's like, "We're not done dancing, pal," and then punches the,
And you
the
just
glass.
break right through the glass.
Shattered.
Pull your
Yeah.
hand back. Octavia, you still got to go.
So what do the other 3 look like?
They also look deformed, mutated in some fashion. You can see look like extra limbs. Like some of them are just like extra stumps. One of them, their head is kind of partially split at the very crown, and it kind of cuts all the way down to the forehead, like it's a V almost.
Ooh.
Maybe
Which
was
one's-
human at some point. Not sure.
Which one's closest to them?
To them, I mean, the two of them, Vice and Burdock, are right around this other one that's got the glass bowl head.
Yeah, that's not him.
And then the other ones are equidistantly kind of around the fire, and we're coming towards you. But then the charging in of these others has certainly slowed down that decision making.
Whichever one's nearest to me, I'm gonna charge at.
Okay, yeah, so you're going to charge at one of the others. Go for it.
Yeah, and that's gonna add +2 to my hit, and then I'm gonna attack with my short sword.
Okay, go for it.
So 20.
20
And
is good to hit. How
5
much?
damage.
Okay, 5 damage. That will cut through as you run up, drop a shoulder. They stumble back, and you just slash down right across their chest. And you can feel metal on metal as they're wearing some kind of plated piece of armor, but it's like patchwork armor in some way, as it just cuts through, and you see sparks begin to burst out from it. But as the blade goes down, you also hear "Arrgh!" as you get something at the end of that slash.
Oh.
They get to go. I wasn't sure this was going to happen. So we'll start right there, right in front of Octavia. Now that you're a little bit closer, you can see that one of their arms from the shoulder, or excuse me, from below the elbow, it's just this massive blade. There's like, you don't see a hand, you don't see a forearm, it's just a blade, and there's all sorts of these heavy straps around it that just look super secure. And it reaches across its body, grabs its arm as right above the elbow, as if it has to still use 2 hands somehow, lifts it up and just trying to bury it right into your neck. So
Great. Okay.
here we go. Sorry, I got to turn off private roles. Let's do it again. I'm going to make sure I do these where you guys can see them. 21 to hit.
Yeah, that hits.
6 points of damage as as the V head slashes through you. Okay.
Christ.
Then the next one, we'll see. As it's looking around the battlefield, I'm going to say, of the other 2, I think one of them is going to move up towards the one that's now by the bonfire to try to lend aid. The other one, I think, is going to chase after Sonenka in the dark. I'm going to 50-50 this to see which one by the fire. It'll be Vice that it's going to attack. Oh, you guys got a reroll from Lucifer's Speech. Thank you very much. Lucifer's Peach. Not Lucifer's Speech.
It's Kaylee.
That's Kaylee. Hey, Kaylee, when are you going to come play with us?
Yeah.
I'm friendly. Come on. Very friendly guy. So this one's going to move up to you, and you're going to see kind of a similar getup, except their head, Vice, is normally shapen, but you can see that there is what looks like some kind of tumorous growth ballooning out of their cheek, and they're carrying, looks like some makeshift pipe, and at the end of it looks like a piece of metal, but it doesn't look like it's supposed to. It's like it's actually a real blade. It's just some sort of makeshift creation of theirs, and they're gonna this horizontal slash try to get right into your ribs. I'm just gonna roll from the same place. They have the same stats. 21 to hit. You take 10 points of damage as I roll
Wait
a
a
10
second.
on a D10.
Holy crap.
I roll a 10 on a D10. The other one is going to just chase into the darkness after Sunenka. I'm going to assume you probably took a position like behind a rock or something like that to do your bow from, or were you out in the open, Sunenka?
I was not able to move.
Okay, so then I'm gonna say you're out in the open. They're gonna go ahead and charge, and I think they're going to attempt to grapple you. Go ahead and make a strength punch roll.
Oh my gosh. Seriously?
And they will come up, and you see that they almost have like Popeye forearms, as they're huge, and their biceps are very thin, but they're wrapped in some kind of cloth. Reach these huge monstrous forearms around you, and you feel them squeeze, and you hear as your back just crunches.
Oh.
And then the last one to go is gonna be the sorcerer.
Did I take damage?
He just grappled you.
Okay.
And I think at the end of your turn, I think it's at the end of your turns. Hang on, it might be at the end of his turn. One quick check for the grapple rules. So
it was a terrible question to ask.
Go ahead.
No, I said that.
Oh, that was okay. Yeah.
If it doesn't give you damage, like. Good.
Okay. At the end of each round in
Just
which a
checking.
defender remains grappled, they suffer damage from each attacker as if hit. So at the end of your turn, if you're still grappled, you'll take damage.
Okay.
Okay. And so then this other one's going to go. I think it's going to turn its attention to Burdock.
Mhm.
I feel bad.
I was the one insulting him and cracking his dome, so.
Okay. You're going to see it reach one of, it's that third stomach arm, just reach down into the flames. This blue flame will begin to grow on top of the arm. Well, they had a charge in for his red side, bedside, so, that's basically it. That was their turn. And then, or moving, I should say. And then they're going to elemental blast you. So they're going to hurl a blast of some sort of elemental force at you. It's made with the combat skill, with magic as a combat skill. And then on a hit, it's going to deal 1d6 damage plus your character level and attribute mod. So that's okay. So that's going to be, let me roll it first. All right. So then, sorry about this. First time using this character. 15. What's your AC, Burdock?
16. I think.
So, okay. If it's 16, they reach out. You see this blue ball of flame that they just literally pull out of the bonfire and shove off in your face. You manage to duck out of the way, and it just sort of, and right against that golem rock skin, it just sort of the flame just goes and pats itself out. And you hear a from the top part, and the bottom part is
Burdock will grin. He's like, "Ain't my first rodeo, pal."
And that's the end of that round, and you guys are up again.
Yeah, so I can do an instant action here because I took a pretty big hit.
Okay.
I'll do blood for the blood. So as I'm holding onto the wound I just got, I'll look up at him. It's like, you know what happens when you make me bleed? And I'll strike back at him. It hits automatically, and it can do no less than the damage that was done to me.
Okay. Describe how you kill this guy.
Oh.
Who has literally 10 health.
Yeah, so pretty much holding my blade up to my own wound he just made, coating in the blood. I'll just slice it back into him, in his stomach.
Okay. And you see as you just drive the blade into the stomach, and you can tell that they have a chest piece, but it covers really only their sternum and upwards, and the soft spot is the belly. And so as you carve into the belly, it just spews onto the ground this discolored
intestines and stuff.
Yeah, and it's all sorts of weird discolored tumorous black. It's it's hideous. Go ahead and roll a physical save, Vice, as this is the most foul-smelling, disgusting stuff.
Oh God.
You've been dealing with people who have the X's disease. This isn't so bad. Okay. So that was your immediate action, right? Or is that on
Yeah,
your turn of the
that was
next round?
instant.
Okay, so
Yeah.
now we're in the new round, and all of you can go in whatever order you
Wow.
want.
So what do I do to try to break the grapple?
It's a contested strength punch again. So you roll the same thing you just rolled, and you have to beat the guy. All right, let me pull him back up.
Falcon punch.
And unfortunately, you do not, as they rolled a 9 to... Not getting away from me. It says to you, gently
So-
whispering into your ear.
So now I take damage.
And so, yeah, at the end, you'll take damage. You still, like you tried to break. So I can pull up the full rules again. I had it on a second ago. But just so we get it right. So, if the attacker wins, the defender is grappled and remains that way until released or until they spend a main action, which is what you just did, and succeed on a new opposed check. Unfortunately, you can't move anywhere. But don't worry, it can't do anything either. Basically, it can't move. It can't like drag you somewhere or anything like that. An attacker can grapple only one target at a time, though multiple attackers can cling to the same defender. And while grappling, neither the attackers or defenders can move from their current location, nor can they fight with anything but unarmed attacks. At the end of each round in which a defender remains grappled, they suffer damage. And end of each round. Oh, I'm sorry. That was the previous round. So you would have suffered the unarmed damage at the end of the first round. So let me go ahead and roll that for you now.
It's okay,
So you're just
you don't have to.
you're just taking the damage for this. So 2 points of damage.
And that was from last round.
That was
And
from
now I've
last
got-
round.
At the end of this round. I'll
At the
take
end of
one.
this round, if you're still grappled, if they don't turn and kill this guy or something like that, yeah, you're going to take that damage.
Okay.
All right, so that's Sunenka's turn. Who else wants to go? Hey, Tombstone, man. Thank you for subscribing again, man. It's good to see you.
Can Burdock get over to where Sinenka is being grappled?
Yeah, you can turn around and run. You are engaged with this guy, so there's the potential that they could. You have to. It's basically if you want to avoid a potential opportunity attack, there's a fighting withdrawal maneuver that you can basically do. But it does. It's essentially like engaging and moving away. But
Is it? I thought this dude was croaked.
no, that was the big dude with the axe that Vice that came over and stabbed Vice. That's the one he killed. The guy in the fire
I
is
thought
still
he killed
alive.
the sorcerer guy.
Yeah,
I
he's still
did not
alive.
realize that.
Yeah. Sorcerer
then I'm
guy's still
gonna-
up.
Okay, I'm gonna try to put my breathing apparatus on first before I help someone else with their breathing apparatus. Airplane safety rules. I think what I want to do with this sorcerer guy is I want to like grab him around the midsection and then try to like Zangief him like into the ground.
I got it. Yeah. Okay. I love Ziggy. He's one of my favorites. Yeah, go ahead and roll it. Go ahead and roll unarmed attack.
I'm looking for the Zangief button here.
Ziggy button. I think that's the Street Fighter ability crossed with your strength skill.
Nice. All right, unarmed. Let's go.
Hugo still deserves a projectile.
He does.
Potatoes.
18 points or 18 to hit is good. You do 3 points of damage. He is unfortunately still up as you smash down, and you
So,
hear
yeah.
you hear just, and you hear you look and you see now both of those like the glass bowl at the top and the one in the torso are now cracked, and both of them are like they're struggling for breath, but they still seem conscious and functional, but they look beaten and bloody on the verge of death for sure.
Burdock's like,
God.
you think them fancy clothes gonna protect you?
Vice and Octavia. I think you guys still have to go still.
Yeah.
I think the attack committed is this round.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You
Yeah.
relooked at it. All right. Thank you. Octavia, your turn.
And it's me. So I'm gonna commit effort
Ooh.
to shapeshift.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna do my savage talons. So you guys basically watch as like Octavia kind of like hunches forward into my almost like feral weregoat form. But I'm just not as big as last time. And my fingers kind of get really long and just these nasty claws form and I get this nasty big old teeth. And I'm gonna hit him.
You're gonna attempt.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
Oh, you're just being a power of positive thinking. I like it. I
Yes,
appreciate that.
Yes.
I really got to remind myself to do that sometimes.
Exactly. And we're gonna roll that. 19.
90s. Describe how you kill this guy.
So my feral weregoat self, and I still got my big old eye open. So you guys just watch as like Octavia just kind of pounces on this dude and grabs him by his shoulders, shoves him on the ground, and then just kind of bites at his throat and rips it open.
That's awesome. Yes, and
Big
it is a
himbo
weregoat.
energy.
There's awesome stuff happening. Okay, so thus far, 2 of the like support staff, we'll call them, have been killed. The one that has like the bladed arm that they were swinging with their second hand. The other one, Vice manages to cut the belly open. One, however, is on Sinenka still and healthy. And then the other is the sorcerer one that's still bathed in flame. And you guys are doing what you can to attack it, but it's still clinging. And it's going to... Oh boy. What can it do at this point? It's beat up. Okay.
The one that's on me?
No, the one on Burdock. Is the one I'm looking at right now. I can do this once a day. Okay. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do another blast at you. Yeah, I'm just going to do another blast. Because it doesn't look like he's got much left in the tank. So he's going to do the same thing he did last time. Just reach out and try to blast you once more. 18 this time.
Oh, yeah, that'll hit.
And so this blue, once again, as they're sort of this long, thin, big elbow, like weird bulging bone structure reaches down, picks up, literally just grabs the blue flame like it's an orange off the ground and just hurls it right up and catches you right underneath your chin as your face just lights up. And you take, I think that was 3 points of damage. I rolled crap for damage. Wow.
Do I put that in the little heart thing?
Yeah, you put that in the top of the heart thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, yeah, I rolled a 1 for damage. That sucked. Okay. And then the one that's on Sinenka, let's see. So that one is grappling you. I can't move, nor can I fight with anything but unarmed attacks. At the end of each round, I can still do an unarmed attack against you. So I think it's got you in its big old forearms, its Popeye forearms, and I think it's just going to try to take its this big hand with like these incredibly fat kind of sausage fingers and just try to just crush your face and just kind of squeeze it into a tiny little pulp. Unarmed attack. Here we go. 17 to hit.
Yeah.
All right, so take 2 points of damage. And then that'll also end the round, and so you'll take from the grapple another 2 points. Okay.
He's got a strong face, though.
I do.
You just
I do.
feel your face just being like sucked down like you're an asterisk, like to a tiny
I'm
little
just
point.
like, yeah, it's going to take more than that.
Okay. You guys are up. You got this sorcerer who's fallen apart into pieces into this fire. You've got Sonika who's getting her face squeezed. What do you guys want to do? You just want to leave? Just leave her? She's dead?
I'm going to try to get out of this again.
Okay, go ahead. So roll, and I will roll the contest. And you do break the grapple this
Yay.
time. So you committed your main action. You now still have a move action. So move action, you
Looking
can
at my
run.
move action options.
Yeah, you can try to run. You can try to screen an ally. Moving, if you run.
I'm just gonna
Okay.
grab a dagger.
Okay.
And have it ready.
You just have. Okay, no problem. All right, Vice, Octavia, or Burdock.
I'll look at Burdock expectantly, like he's got this one handled.
He's like rolling around, I think, with this other guy. You said that like he was observing that the coat seemed to be interacting with the fire in some way.
Yeah, it seemed like it was sort of protecting him somewhat from the flames.
Can I try to like grapple that off from him, like peel him like a banana or something?
Well, I could say we could do a contested grapple, see if you can like rip it off of them. Sure, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. Because I think he was saying that stuff about his fancy clothes earlier, and I think he's really focused on the class privilege of the fancy coat.
Okay.
What's a grapple? Is that strength?
So it's strength punch. So we'll just do,
okay.
and it'll be contested. So they'll see if they can grab us. So you're reaching out. You're trying to like, can I take your coat for you, sir?
Yeah. Does it add punch or strength automatically?
Yeah. Well, let me make sure it's in your drop down because you can switch that
in
out.
the formula.
Yeah.
Oh, it says wisdom.
Yeah, I just switched it out for you. So try to roll it now.
Okay. Thanks. Strength. Let's see. Oh wow.
And I think you do, in fact, do it. I think I rolled poor. So let me see what I got here.
You got a 9, you got a 6.
Yeah, so you manage. So as these things, as you look, you realize there's actually nothing in the sleeves of this
Okay.
which is effectively a duster coat. And you just rip it right off them. And you can see that there's a body that they're in, like a physical body that they have been in. And as you rip it off, the flames just begin to erupt. I'm going to go ahead and say roll a d6 to see how much damage they take immediately from the protection being lost.
Ooh.
And you see them, these tiny little creatures,
Yeah, that's what you get. Mm-hmm.
and it crumples down into the bonfire. That was gone.
Yes.
Okay, very nice. And there's still one left on Senenka. That's it.
Yeah, I'll move over to the one on Senenka.
Okay.
Yeah, how
Just
far
try to
away
get
is
rolled
she?
skill.
Well, she is 50 feet from Vice because
Oh, I can charge them.
you can charge, so you'll charge in. Octavia will do some Pythagorean theorem. We'll say you were 30 away from them, so she's like probably 20 from you.
Okay.
21.
21 will hit. How much damage did you do?
7 damage.
Not enough to kill, but definitely they're foam coming down their chin at this point and like kind of dropping to the ground. Every time it drops to the ground, you see like this little wisp of like smoke puff up from the stone. Octavia, can you finish them off?
I'm gonna try.
Go for it.
So you guys watch as Octavia just kind of turns and she just growls as she drops to all fours and starts charging at this thing. And she's just gonna leap on it like she did the other one and slash at its throat.
Okay.
So with my savage talons, with I'm not using my sword, I do 1d8 damage and use either strength or dex as a modifying attribute. And do punch or stab. So I'm gonna do stab.
You got to roll to hit.
Oops. What do I roll for hit?
It's a D20.
Okay, cool.
D20 for attacks, 2d6s for skills. That's going to be a miss, unfortunately.
That's a miss.
Yeah.
So you guys watch as Octavia, like, she goes to leap on him and she leaps too high and she lands on the ground behind him. So then that's it
Overshot
for
your
me.
target.
Yeah.
All right. Sonenka, you broke your grapple this round, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so then
Yeah.
it will get a turn. I am going to do a morale roll first. All right, which it finishes. One sec. Okay. Okay. Last person to do it damage was that Vice, I believe. Okay. So it's gonna lunge after Vice, and you're gonna see as it does so, it's this is the one with the long, slender arms with the big, like almost Mickey Mouse like hands, the sausage fingers, and it's just going to try to like beat away at your face. Let me reset that. And you can see that it's not actually. You're pretty sure it's not actually its hands, but it's something else. Like it's like wearing something on his hands, and I forgot to roll public again. Sorry. And that's a miss as it just flails away at you ineffectually. Okay. I think what we're going to do for the last round, this is the last one left, is very hurt. I'd rather you all just come up with a fun description of how do the four of you take this thing out? Like, what's the way that the four of you just like tear this thing apart? Because it's all one of you would need to do is hit to kill it. It's that low. I just want to hear what it sounds like.
I think Senenka, I don't know. I feel like you should get this one. Do you like take it out with a dagger or something?
I was thinking of kind of for me just kind of doing like a sweep of the leg to try to get it prone, and then
Cobra Kai style,
kind of
just-
like
Oh, and then I just fall on top of it and just
Octavia
start ripping at its neck.
turns around, hops. Okay, all right. So
Fully feral.
as
Super
the last
hurt.
of them is ripped apart and is left bleeding this horrible blood, I need everyone to make a physical save.
oh
Is this different from the previous one?
Yeah, that was just, I was going to make a funny joke about you throwing up. This one is actually something.
failed.
Success.
Is it magical?
It is, I mean, yeah, we'll treat it as magical.
All right, I'm able to pass the first magic fail.
Okay. You should, so the only person who passes is Octavia, normally, and then Vice, you get yours with your ability. So both Senenka and Burdock, the two of you, as you guys are kind of cleaning up, wiping your weapons off, your hands off, maybe rummaging through their things, you begin to feel really woozy, and just sort of kind of just dizzy, and like it just kind of overtakes you to the point where this intense fatigue. You notice too that like their bodies, like they're so warped and kind of strange. You see these things like bubbling and these pustules bursting, and even after their death. But the two of you just feel like this intense dizziness overtake you. And that's it. No mechanical thing other than that for now. And what we'll do to wrap this up, you clean yourselves up, you go through the things. There's some odds and ends I'll give you in the interim. You guys watch as the night continues, the blue flame goes, and sometime before dawn, you see a small disturbance in the water, and you look down, and there's like this octopus just flailing around, and another one shows up, and then another one, and then these three octopi just are crawling up the small, like somewhat sandy portion right before the slab, that 30-degree slab. And as they get in that sandy portion, it's like this almost effortless movement from being an octopi like jellyfish, and then suddenly wrapping these tentacles and taking physical form as three Nindarian delegates appear before you. And I think we'll end the session there and pick it up on it next time. Sound good?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
Fun.
So XP wise, y'all take 3 XP
Nice.
as per
Yay.
usual. You guys had a good fight there, and I will get you the goodies. They had a couple goodies. Some of the things you might want to use, some of the things you probably just don't want to use at all. But there's some stuff. But yeah, that's it for us. Logan, where can they find your stuff? Like if they want to see more of the
Yeah, I don't have a
artwork?
lot of places. I have an Instagram. So Instagram.com/, one of those slashes things, and Old Man Logan,
Yeah.
LOWGUN.
Yeah.
You can see my drawings.
Yeah, if you're watching right now, check the chat. Just drop the link. If you're watching this later on YouTube, check the show notes. I'll have a link to Logan's Instagram. You can see more of his stuff. He's the one who's done this awesome token art that you see for Vice and Octavia and Senenka.
Thanks, guys.
It's pretty awesome. Pretty great. We're very excited. It actually made me feel somewhat guilty for nearly killing Melissa's character. I was like, oh, geez, I almost killed her like the very first session we got these tokens. So we made a deal that she would just play her brother, and her brother looks exactly. They're twins. That's
It was a lucky token.
yeah,
you
it's
know?
great. It's great. Okay, and then for us, Adventures of Lollygagging, we play games, tabletop role-playing games, as you all know. But we play on Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Saturdays are Worlds Without Number Day. And we're going to be continuing this for a while, we think. We might pepper in some other games from time to time, but this is our main Saturday game. Mondays, we alternate between Things from the Flood, which will be this coming Monday's game, and Alien. We're starting a brand new Alien campaign on the 28th of June. We're starting a Marine chapter. You can come take a look at that. And then on Fridays, we play Delta Green, and I drive Ashley, not her character, Ashley, crazy. That's what I do.
It does actually.
True story. But that's about it. Thank you for those of you who hung out. Thank you for the few who threw us some bits. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the sub, Tombstone. It's good to see you. I feel you with the heat. You're right. Humidity is just awful. Growing up in Florida. Oh, terrible. But stay safe. We'll see you in a couple days if you want to join us for Things in the Flood. But thanks for watching. We'll go ahead and put on the end screen and raid somebody so you can watch some more tabletop greatness. All right. So bye-bye, everybody.
Later.
Guys.